In this unpredictable life, we sometimes feel lost like grains of dust. Yet, unexpected characters emerge, bringing light that guides us to explore the vast sky where each star shines with its unique personality. They make us laugh, they make us cry, and they show us that life is incredibly rich. Let's embark on this journey together, to a world where everyone can discover the strength to change their own destiny. In this vibrant and challenging world, I awaken to an extraordinary power that everyone yearns for. Not only am I skilled in wielding a broken sword to pierce through countless foes, but I am also adept at combat magic. A century ago, when countless demon towers suddenly sprouted across the globe, thousands of terrifying creatures were unleashed upon the world. They brought endless disasters to our realm. Faced with the might of these demons, humanity had little hope, until at the brink of extinction, the first awakened generation emerged. Like brilliant stars, they were determined to stop the monsters escaping from the towers. They bravely stormed the demon towers multiple times. This was humanity's first victory against the invasion from another dimension. The first generation of the awakened became known as heroes, and their legacy is honored in the Heroes' Cemetery and the Great Library. I am passionately flipping through the tales of these legends. These mages could cast any spell without incantation, and swordsmen could slice through thousands of soldiers with just a branch. Today, they are celebrated as legendary awakened ones. My dream is to be like them, to leave behind a legend of my own. Currently, the mark of the Chosen One has also appeared on me. I am determined to become an awakened one, just like the heroes. But sadly, misfortune strikes. This year marks my third attempt at the power assessment. If I fail again this year, I will have no chance left to become an awakened one. Yet, fate seems to mock me. The whole class rejoices in having passed the assessment, while I alone stare at the rejection notice on my phone, an overwhelming gloom enveloping me, and tears begin to fall. Senpai, we need to attend the welcome ceremony for the new students. As for you, a disgrace to the awakened, you can only clean the classroom. At least you can tidy up the trash. I feel utterly powerless. Perhaps I will never become an awakened one. This is the stark difference between reality and dreams. The mark on my hand feels like a scar, a constant reminder of my pain. At that moment, a classmate suddenly calls everyone to the school gate. It turns out that the former student Haiki, who has now become a level 1 awakened one, has returned to participate in an interview. He stands confidently and elegantly before the reporters. He keeps saying he understands my tardiness, constantly reminding me of the times he helped me in the past. The truth is, he doesn't even remember my name anymore. He only recalls it when his friends remind him. When we're together, there's nothing that resembles help. It's just a series of beatings that never regard me as a person. He even took my money. Today, Haiki once again asked me to participate in the interview. What's his true intention? I absolutely refused to be a mere backdrop for his interview. As I was about to leave this ridiculous photo shoot, he sneered. Another failure in your competency test. Huh? Even wasting a day of your time seems insignificant. I recalled the pain from 3 years ago, not knowing how long I had silently endured it, forcing a strained smile in response to the interview. I expressed words that didn't come from my heart, feeling grateful to Haiki. But once the interview ends, no one will remember me. It dawned on me that even if you are the embodiment of evil, as long as you possess strength, people will rally behind you. At this very moment, Haiki and his 2 teammates approached, inviting me to the Heroes' Cemetery tonight. If I go, he'll request the association to grant me another chance to retake the exam, Haiki stated. He does this merely to enhance his own reputation. We'll discuss it further then. Although I'm skeptical about this, and despite my intense dislike for them, I find myself with no other choice. This is my only opportunity, and I must succeed this time. It turns out that the final battle Haiki filmed also took place at the Heroes' Cemetery. After the filming, everyone left, and Haiki ventured deep into the cemetery alone, searching for the entrance. Found it yet? I only saw his 2 teammates digging for the real entrance to the grave. Just then, I arrived, and upon witnessing this scene, I shouted in anger, "Are you crazy? Do you have any idea who's buried inside?" Haiki disdainfully crushed the stones beneath his feet. "Of course I know, but that's just the erosion of history. I couldn't care less, I only want what's inside. Hearing that, I froze, thinking of the legendary feats of the first awakened heroes, the idols I admired, and my own dreams. I was completely overwhelmed with rage and charged at Haiki, wanting to strike him. However, Haiki merely sidestepped my attack with ease. He then punched me hard in the stomach. The blow was so powerful that I spat out a large amount of blood, clutching my stomach and rolling on the ground, feeling my vision start to blur. Am I on the brink of death? At that moment, Haiki's teammates had just discovered the treasure beneath. Inside the packaging were various magical crystals and weapons. Haiki picked up a crystal, his face lighting up with joy. This light surely emanates from the crystal. This time, I'm going to strike it rich. Haiki grabbed my collar, revealing the truth behind why he summoned me. You wonder why I lured you here? It's because I heard you've been tirelessly researching the first heroes in the library. How convenient it is to have you as our sacrificial pawn. Your disappointment from failing the competency exam has led you to this moment, seeking to steal the treasures below. And then, the next day, you'll vanish without a trace. Your glorious tale will grace the front page of tomorrow's newspaper. How does that sound to you? Farewell. With that, Haiki released my hand, leaving me seething with anger, unable to utter a single word in protest. Am I really destined to die like this? All my days of rigorous training, each test I've overcome, seem utterly meaningless. No one will remember me. Just then, a brilliant light erupted from beneath the water. As I opened my eyes, I noticed the light around me slowly condensing into human forms. They were the souls of the first awakened beings, embodying the pinnacle of every domain. In that moment, the mark on my hand began to glow fiercely, and they recognized its significance. The mark on my hand represents the essence of the void. It may not awaken any specific skills, but paradoxically, it can manifest any power you have never imagined. You can choose one of them and forge a pact. Magic, archery, swordsmanship, martial arts, whichever you choose, you will gain immense power. Though I wish to be like them, a revered awakened one, I crave unparalleled strength in this world, enough to erase all the humiliation I've endured. So, I choose them all. I want the power of every single one of you. Give me everything. Just as they thought it impossible, the mark on my hand blazed with a dazzling light. In an instant, all the spirits were drawn into the space of the mark. At that moment outside, Haiki and the others were preparing to leave when suddenly large droplets of water erupted. As they stood in confusion, my entire body emitted a green glow, hovering above their heads. I paid no heed to their mockery, simply waving my hand a few times to acclimate to the transformation of my body. Haiki, growing impatient, commanded the monkey beside him to swiftly behead me. In that instant, the magical mark in his hand shone brightly. I paid no mind to their taunts, merely waving my hands lightly to adapt to the changes in my body. Haiki was growing increasingly impatient, ordering the monkey beside him to swiftly cut off my head. In the blink of an eye, the magical imprint on his hand glowed brightly. In the void, a hunting sword materialized. It turned out the monkey had become a level 1 awakened, and the thought of killing me seemed trivial to him. He swiftly lifted the sword and swung it towards me. In an instant, we collided, both wearing confident smiles. Yet in the next heartbeat, wounds began to materialize across my body. A piercing scream shattered the silence. The remaining two could only stand in shock, unable to fathom the outcome. "You're a bit weak," one of them remarked. "Who's next?" Reacting swiftly, the chubby one hastily unleashed a spell to attack me. I simply raised a finger, allowing a soft glow of golden light to gather at its tip. In an instant, a bolt of golden lightning shot toward the chubby one. No way, he didn't even utter a single incantation. After a cloud of dust settled, he lay motionless, devoid of life. How could one wield a branch as a sword without needing to chant? Haiki thought of the legendary swordsman who had cleaved through thousands with just a twig. There were tales of wielding the magic of truth without incantation, casting any spell at will. Yet today, these stories were dismissed as mere legend. Few believed they held any truth. Little did they know, those legends were now unfolding before their very eyes. This left him in disbelief, unaware that the spirits of 106 awakened souls now resided within me. Under the daylight, you trampled upon my dignity, leaving behind a mere tale for the world. But tonight, you shall remember a completely new legend that belongs to me. As I gazed at the transformation overtaking my body, I was filled with disbelief. It felt as if I were brimming with power, the heroes I idolized now living in the void of my existence. Their expressions suggested satisfaction with this newfound space, yet each looked at me with an insatiable hunger, as if they wished to consume me whole. The first to step forward was the swordsman I knew so well, Kane Wiet Lee, who once used a mere branch to slice through countless monsters. I was astonished that someone still remembered us. Haiki, what do you plan to do? Yet, I misunderstood. I thought he was referring to Haiki. For him, Haiki was nothing but a worthless scrap. He paid no mind to my words, focusing instead on the entity behind Haiki. It was only then I noticed something unusual. The treasure enveloping the space behind Haiki emitted a strange light. I rushed over to investigate. However, I was mistaken for having malicious intent. In a panic, I conjured a weapon from the void. I swung my arm, delivering a powerful punch, completely unable to control myself as I spun and soared away, landing dozens of meters from my original position. Get out of my way. Treasure continued to spew forth millions of malicious shadows, and instantly, a colossal surge of energy erupted from it. An invisible pressure enveloped the area. What is this there? Suddenly, a gigantic monster emerged before me, reeking of malice, instilling dread in the hearts of all who beheld it. Haichi trembled behind me, horrified by this nightmarish sight. Why is there a monster here? This is one of the bosses sealed within the monster tower by the first awakened souls in this tomb. And yet, you have brought it forth. Some monsters survive by hiding and lying dormant, and this one is known as the Void Transformation. A black sphere covered in eyes, cloaked by innumerable tentacles, posed a danger far beyond Class S. It was a walking catastrophe, continuously emitting toxic gas capable of slaughtering everyone within a radius of several kilometers. In my era, such monsters were common, but in this time, they were truly formidable. At that moment, Haichi trembled in fear. I can't die here, he muttered before turning to flee. I hurriedly urged him to stop, warning that this type of monster would prioritize targeting living beings. But it was too late. Every eye of the creature was fixed on Haichi. Suddenly, a tentacle shot out, racing towards him. He hastily raised his sword, but it was of no use. With a swift slash, the tentacle plunged into his chest. In no time, countless small hands surged into his body. He continued to drain his life force. In an instant, all flesh and blood were gone, leaving only a withered husk behind. I warned you, I said with a hint of regret. It's a pity you won't witness the legend that belongs to me. At that moment, a thunderous explosion reverberated through the heart of the city. A three-headed hellhound suddenly emerged from the void, wreaking havoc without restraint. Just then, a man appeared before the monstrous beast. The crowd around him erupted in cheers. What a sight! It's Kaisha, an S-class awakener, they exclaimed. The hellhound instantly lunged at the man, but Kaisha effortlessly leaped into the air, delivering a powerful strike to the ground. With just one blow, the three-headed beast was vanquished. Does anyone know where Haichi is? Kaisha inquired as he prepared to make a call, but suddenly, an overwhelming pressure surged forth. Turning back, I realized that this pressure engulfed the entire city. At the scene, everyone except him lay motionless on the ground, unable to move. There was no mistaking it. Even those who had recently awakened couldn't withstand this force. It was at least an S-class monster. The source of this pressure emanated from the hero's cemetery. There, Haichi had attempted to steal a treasure from the hero's cemetery, carrying a magical crystal meant to seal the monster away, a formless black sphere brimming with eyes. Enveloped by countless tentacles, the danger level surpassed even that of Class S. The sight of the Haichi monster sent shivers down my spine, causing it to abandon its treasures and flee. Yet, a tentacle shot out, hurtling straight towards him, piercing fiercely into his chest. It relentlessly drained his life force. Just a moment later, all flesh and blood were siphoned away. Lee Ichiro rushed over, wrapping his arms around me. "Aren't you going to hand your body over to me?" he asked. "This isn't how modern women treat each other." At that very moment, voices of others echoed within me. They were arguing for control over my body. "Is this what you all want?" I questioned. "I could lend you this body, but I have one condition. Show me the extent of your power. One day, I will surpass you all." Upon hearing these words, the heroes were taken aback, and Liichiro stood there, feeling utterly powerless. It seemed impossible to monopolize this body. "Well then, let's get started. I shall take the lead." As an arrow was released, the monster's tentacle was severed into multiple segments. The branch in my hand snapped in two. Instantly, the monster retaliated. As the heroes changed, I gracefully leaned aside, then reached out with one hand to touch the tentacle, slicing it cleanly in half. Seizing this moment, I swiftly bent down to grab the wooden staff lying on the ground. I swung it towards the monster, harnessing the force from my backward flip, using the momentum from the tentacle to deliver a powerful strike that slammed the creature into the earth. The monster was launched into the air as the ground shattered beneath it. In an instant, I retrieved my bow, aiming to unleash a flurry of arrows, all hitting their mark on the beast. Hearing the monster's anguished cries, I pressed on without hesitation. This was merely the beginning. I had yet to witness the full strength of my comrades. Next, I engaged the monster for 300 rounds, unleashing each of my skills in succession. Finally, I reached Haichi's lifeless body and picked up his remains. At that moment, the monster was forced back, turning to flee. Yet, it summoned two tentacles to launch an assault against me. In an instant, lightning sparked in my eyes, and my body was enveloped in thunder. The tentacles were reduced to ashes. It's time to finish this. With a fatal blow, I executed a cleaving strike. The monster was split in two. Ultimately, with the united effort of all the heroes, I successfully vanquished the beast. However, at that very moment, perched on a branch not far away, a raven observed the entire scene of the monster's demise. On the other side of the city, a pile of monster corpses lay heaped together. Atop this gruesome mound sat a man, speaking on the phone. What it's been defeated, I seem to have arrived a step too late. Learning that the slayer of the creature was a student from the training academy, the man immediately became intrigued upon hearing this. I want to meet him. This man was none other than the strongest awakened being in the world today, Principal Tianyuan, who had graciously allowed me to participate in the exam without needing to take it. I had blown up the principal's office into the sky. At the training academy, all the students felt a wave of anticipation mixed with anxiety from the previous night. Some even boasted, "Did you know, the one who defeated the monster was me?" Yet, surely no one believed their claims. It had been 10 years since an S-class awakened one had appeared. Rumor had it that last night's monster was a student of our training academy. The protagonist of this story staggered alongside them, feeling as though the spirit of last night had drained his very vitality. At that moment, a burly figure suddenly appeared, knocking me to the ground. A failure like this could not be an S-class awakened one. Uemu Liichiro stood before me, looking down at my battered form. "You think you can surpass us with that? Where was Ochi yesterday?" Right after that, he glanced around, sensing the aura of the entire academy, revealing that the awakened ones in this era had fallen to the level of ordinary people. If the monster tower were to reappear, this world would face annihilation. At that moment, Uemu Liichiro felt a powerful presence amidst the crowd. Just as he pondered this, I received an urgent notification from the teacher, requesting my immediate presence at the stadium for a supplementary test. This caught me by surprise. All my classmates looked on with curiosity. It was the first time I heard that the awakened ones didn't need to take the exam. Everyone was ready to watch me face failure. The first test was a 100-meter sprint with an average time of 3.6 seconds. The historical record stood at 2.7 seconds. As the gunshot rang out, I dashed toward the finish line in a mere 1.2 seconds, shattering the historical record. The spectators around me were left in stunned silence at this spectacle. The second test was a long-distance run of 3 kilometers, with an average time of 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and the record being 3 minutes and 17 seconds. I completed it effortlessly in 1 minute and 17 seconds. Next was the weightlifting test, where I had to perform as many reps as possible in 120 seconds, with an average of 215 reps and a record of 418 reps. My result was an astonishing 840 reps. For the bench press, with an average weight of 400 kg and a record of 680 kilograms, I lifted a staggering 1,280 kilograms. Everyone witnessing this was left speechless. Before them, I transformed into someone else, no longer the weakling who had failed the exams for 3 years. Little did they know, I was equally astonished by myself. Could it be the power of my friends, bro? After Guimuli Ichiro explained, I realized that following the battle last night, my body had been completely reborn. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, the world's strongest awakened one, Tianyuan, held a clipboard reviewing my records. In fact, it was Tianyuan's recommendation that granted me the opportunity to participate in this supplementary test. The principal, standing beside him, expressed skepticism about this sudden supplementary test, pointing out that over the past 3 years, I had shown decent physical performance but exhibited no signs of magical power. I sensed this was a waste of his time, yet Tianyuan remained confident in me. At the testing ground, all the students gathered to watch. I approached the fan, needing to control the fan to spin for 10 minutes using magical power. The average score was 1,513 spins, while the historical record was 4,022 spins. In the past 3 years, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't harness magical power, let alone control the fan. Now, I felt it surrounding me, continuously flowing into my body. Moreover, I seemed to be able to control the pace of the magical energy entering and exiting through my breath. I then focused the magical power into my palms and pumped it into the fan. Instantly, the fan began to spin slowly. The fan spun like the hands and feet of my own body, and I could control it. As my magical power surged forth unceasingly, the rotation intensified, creating a whirlwind of chaos. The readings on the panel skyrocketed. A powerful vortex materialized, plunging the scene into pandemonium. In the next heartbeat, the colossal fan erupted in a spectacular explosion. Blades whirred at breakneck speed, lifting off the ground and shooting into the air. I propelled myself forward, harnessing that formidable power straight towards the academic building, heading directly for the principal's office. An earth-shattering blast echoed behind me, and as the dust settled, the scene froze in a haunting stillness within the academic building. The principal was so terrified that he foamed at the mouth and fainted. Only Jan and his secretary remained composed, quietly observing, as if I had just unearthed someone who could rise to heights akin to my own. It genuinely thrilled me. Haha. At this moment, I could hardly believe what I had just accomplished. Was this truly my achievement? The examiners hastily announced that I had passed the test, officially becoming a true awakened. The students witnessing the event left an indelible mark in history. They seemed to rejoice at last. I had conquered the exam. 3 years of relentless effort had not been in vain. I had taken a monumental step towards my dream. Just as Liichiro had predicted, the hidden potential within me was awakened after last night's battle. How could the Master of the Void imprint be an ordinary person? We have waited a century, and perhaps you are the one who can fulfill our dreams. At that moment, a surge of powerful energy descended from the heavens, piercing through the veil of dust. Jan stepped forth, and I found myself gazing at him in astonishment. He was the strongest of this era, Jan. Why was he here, and why was he taking the initiative to shake my hand? Congratulations on passing the exam and becoming a qualified awakened, he declared. While I was still in a daze, Jan presented an additional challenge to strike him. I couldn't believe my ears. Was this a dream? Ever since I was 9 years old, he had been the monster-slaying legend, standing atop the pinnacle and vanquishing countless beasts. Now, at the age of 23, he was recognized as the strongest awakened in the world. There were tales of how he single-handedly quelled the chaos a decade ago and faced the Kyushu plague 5 years prior. He saved the situation. For everyone, he is a living legend. As for me, I am just a rookie who has just awakened, but he wants me to fight him. The rule of the match. Within 1 minute, if you can hit me even once, you win. You may use any weapon. I will attack you once every 10 seconds. After saying this, Jan created a pile of weapons for me to choose from. Don't worry, my body is harder than these blades. You can attack freely. My finger slipped and split the blade in my hand in two. Seeing this scene, I was extremely tense. Can I win, Ming? While I was still dazed, Luck became incredibly excited. He wants me to lend my body again, but I want to test my own strength to gain recognition from the opponent. The countdown begins. Immediately, I picked up a long blade from the ground, drew the knife, and charged towards Yan. Yan simply leaned his body to dodge. I kept swinging my blade, but still couldn't touch him. The students watching were endlessly excited. Truly, the strongest awakened one can dodge attacks while keeping an eye on the hand. I couldn't accept it and wondered why I couldn't touch him even once. Just then, the first 10 seconds were up. A finger appeared in front of me, followed by a punch to the head. Fortunately, I reflexively tilted my head and avoided it. Strong energy whooshed past me, and when I turned back to look at the ground, a deep hole had appeared before my eyes. If I had been hit just now, I might have died. Is this a test? At this moment, Yan looked at me with a puzzled expression. He could not sense any vibrations of power from me. Yet, I had dodged the critical strike just now. I knew I couldn't continue like this. I needed to find the fighting sensation from last night. Immediately, I adjusted my breathing and reset the rules. Matching the rhythm of my strikes, the speed of my sword swings became faster. My change in tactics surprised Yan, and the surrounding crowd also gasped in astonishment. The speed increased rapidly, so much that even the cameras couldn't keep up with our movements. But I knew that this speed was still not enough. I needed to be even faster. As the next 10 seconds passed, thousands ducked to avoid my attacks, while a finger pointed out, unleashing a terrifying burst of energy directly hitting my chest. I was blown back dozens of meters until I crashed into the school building. My body was buried. I coughed up a mouthful of blood. How splendid. My opponent is indeed the strongest among the awakened. If it were before, I would have died long ago. Even with my current strength, I cannot pass his test. Nevertheless, it's okay. I immediately rushed towards Yan again. However, at this moment, Yan had lost interest in me. "You disappoint me too much," he said, then struck me hard with his hand. My vision immediately blurred. "Your power is undeniably strong, but that's only against ordinary beings. You're still far from reaching the level I desire. It's disappointing not to see the same fierce strength as last night." Yan, while on a call, turned his back and walked away. In that instant, a terrifying wave of energy surged from behind. I harnessed that powerful energy, rising to my feet once more. This isn't over yet, it's just the beginning. "Kid, I hope you can give me a thrilling fight. He is one of the strongest ancient warriors, Luck. With just a branch, one could annihilate thousands of monsters, and he is recognized as the strongest today." Yan had once quelled chaos single-handedly. Now, through my body, he unleashed the fiercest battle between the ancient and the modern. Yan's eyes glowed with excitement. This was the battle he had yearned for. Indeed, this is it. The powerful aura from last night has reemerged, but why does he seem like two different people? Could it be due to some mysterious skill? Regardless, the figure before us has transformed into a monster. Luck seethes with anger at Yan's bewilderment. It feels like a heavy blow. Speed and strength have surged dramatically. The sharp aura slices through the air, danger saturating the atmosphere. The school building suffers severe damage as students scatter in panic. Yan senses the shift and finds himself in a daze. It's not just the increase in speed and power, but also my previously mediocre swordsmanship has now morphed into that of a seasoned warrior. I can anticipate my opponent's moves. My swordplay flows like a furious river. Such strength could genuinely defeat a Class S monster. 40 seconds have passed. Yan, exhilarated, swings his sword towards Luck, but Luck dodges effortlessly. It's as if these attacks are merely whispers of the wind. "Your strikes are too weak," Luck scoffs coldly and mounts a counterattack. Yan evades brilliantly. "You are much stronger than I imagined." The onlooking students stand in stunned silence, unable to believe their eyes. Yet seeing Yan face off against Luck, he feels disheartened. "Forget the rules, let's just fight. It must be frustrating for you to be constrained. Allow me to witness your true power, Have." With that, I charged forward as you wished. Immediately, I kicked a stone at the pile of weapons. In the blink of an eye, all the weapons soared through the air, dancing like shooting stars. I grasped the blade of Guanggong. "Let's continue." With that, I swung the sword down, its edge glimmering. We danced through the air in a fierce duel, exchanging blows for nearly 300 strikes. Meanwhile, the heroes within me watched the battle with keen interest, and Luck seemed to be enjoying himself immensely. How enviable! It's a pity that borrowing the body of a mere demon, I cannot unleash my full strength. If this continues, I might just lose. Now I gaze outward, fully focused on the clash between the two, missing no details. Attacks from the left, cuts from the right, slashing up and smashing down, I strive to mimic Luck's movements. I yearn to grow stronger. Outside, as the two sides clash relentlessly, weapons shatter and splinter. This body is infuriatingly difficult to control. Is it time to push past my limits? Yan, filled with excitement, discards the broken sword in his hand. Finally, he has found an opponent worthy of battle. The road ahead will no longer be solitary. Ha ha! Just 10 seconds left. Luck leans back and then lunges toward the school building. A large man on the second floor stands perplexed, unsure why Luck is heading his way. Luck swiftly seizes a long sword and charges, while Yan follows up with a powerful punch towards the school. The building explodes once more. Let's hope those innocent students are unharmed. Bursting forth from the cloud of dust, the two clashed once more against the wall. The school building crumbled under their ferocity. Yan grew increasingly excited with each blow. The battle spilled out of the principal's office. He aimed to use the fan from earlier as his weapon. Luck sensed the shift in his opponent's momentum. For the first time, he felt the sting of danger. He saw the massive fan raised high, ready to strike down. Suddenly, a web of sword energy formed, a signature move of Luck. The fan was immediately sliced apart. Countless fragments danced in the air as Yan was taken aback by the scene before him. It was simply magnificent. Just as Luck was about to seize the moment to attack, the blade in his hand shattered. Above Yan's right hand, energy coiled with intensity. Preparing to unleash a decisive strike against Luck, the seconds ticked away. At that moment, Luck, suspended in midair, had lost all strength. Just as that colossal energy attack was about to land, I regained control of my body, my fist soaring high. In my eyes, every movement slowed down, becoming crystal clear. My hand glided effortlessly across the back of my opponent's hand. The attack veered off course instantly. Both Luck and Yan could hardly believe what they saw. My entire arm was numb, yet my left hand remained. This was my final blow, infused with the last remnants of my strength, crashing down upon Yan. Battle was truly a clash of titans. From relentless attacks to defenses, each sought true victory, often occurring in mere moments. In the face of powerful adversaries, there would be no room for error. It was like a game of Go, intricately sealed off from intrusion. Yet this little demon managed to seize an opportunity even I could not perceive. Something unbelievable happened. Yan, still maintaining his previous attack stance with one hand, managed to catch my punch with the other in that instant. It's frustrating I was just a bit short of finishing it. Yet, when I completely gave up, it's incredible that Yan maintained his attacking posture with one hand, while the other was able to grab my fist at that moment. Yan gently smiled, caught my punch, and lightly touched it to his face. "Haha, congratulations, you've qualified," he said. I was stunned, unable to believe what had happened. After being overwhelmed, I fainted from exhaustion. The entire school was joyously speechless at this historic moment. One who used to be last has managed to hit the strongest, Yan. When I woke up, I was surprised to find Yanlin's teammate treating my injuries. "You better not move, your arm is quite badly injured. Congratulations on passing the test." Hearing that, I was stunned, sitting up in disbelief. Did I really meet the standard? Had I actually struck Yan? How could it be so? As I pondered, I noticed Yan standing beside me, a smile playing on his lips. You indeed have what it takes. But then, reflecting on my thoughts, the only one capable of countering Yan was Luck, but only in the last season did I truly emerge. Yet I still found myself easily thwarted by Yan. At that moment, he remarked that my final dodge was nothing short of spectacular. Was I truly being recognized? And about what happens after passing the test? Didn't they say it clearly? Just by succeeding, you become one of our teammates. However, aside from that, it seemed like someone was not quite satisfied this time. Teammates. I stood there, bewildered. It seemed like you hadn't mentioned that before. Had you? Zhang Yuan looked out at those on the teaching platform, suggesting it wasn't the place for a conversation. Tonight, I'll come to your house to discuss in detail about our true enemy. By then, I'm eager to see what choice you'll make. That night, lying in bed, I reminisced about Xian Yuan's words. The real enemy we faced was Ever since the Demon Tower emerged, a horde of monsters from other dimensions had surged forth. Were those monsters really our enemies? Was there something else lurking in the shadows? Just as I drifted off, a noise erupted from downstairs. Could it be Xian Yuan arriving? I dashed down, ready to greet him, but my heart sank at the sight of my mother lying motionless on the floor. Confusion gripped me. What was going on? I spotted a man sitting in the kitchen, savoring the dinner my mother had worked tirelessly to prepare. Who are you? What have you done to my mother? Pleasure to meet you. I'm Gaigu, and Shrank Awakened, and a teammate of Xian Yuan. Hurry and pack your things, we're heading to the base immediately. But I paid no heed to his words, my anger boiling over as I swung my fist with all my might. Yet, my attack missed its mark. Gaigu reappeared behind me. What's happening? I don't appreciate jokes. His mocking words brought back memories of my childhood with my mother. Since I was little, my father had passed away, leaving my mother to struggle alone, raising me. To celebrate my passing the exam, she had prepared a lavish dinner tonight. I turned to glare at him, my voice steady. I'll ask you again. What have you done to my mother? In the hero's realm, the first awakened were watching the unfolding scene. This was the modern Shrank Awakening, a contender against this little demon. Let's see how you respond. Just because he was possessed once, he learned all the skills of that profession. That night, upon returning home to find my mother sprawled on the floor, another figure emerged. Are you talking about your mother? Can you guess how she feels? The lovely girl is quite angry now. With that, he raised his hand, preparing to strike me. I met his gaze with cold determination. I raised my hand gently, blocked, and then twisted my arm, throwing it down hard. Gaigu couldn't believe it as he lost his balance and was thrown out the window. The heroes in the seal space were also astonished to witness this scene. Is this not my divine hand technique? I can't believe that little brat learned it after just one encounter. He swung his arm and steadied himself. What just happened was that Tai Chi. It felt like I was thrown back by my own power. I thought he only knew swordsmanship. Moreover, he is incredibly reckless. Here I am, barefoot on a pile of rubble, enveloped in powerful magic. I'll give you one more chance to answer my question. What did you do to my mother? Oh, I really enjoy the expression on your face right now. I might as well tell you, it's a most lethal poison with no antidote. If you're lucky, you might get a chance to leave a final wish. Haha, I want to know why you did this. Aren't you supposed to be an ally of the celestial origin? You're such a fool. You're not my ally at all. You can only become our puppet. You're so naive, easily grasped by others' weaknesses. Just then, my leg was struck, and in the next moment, Gaigu landed a punch on my cheek. Though I managed to pull back in time, my cheek was still cut open. Instantly, the wound was flooded with poison. It turns out Gaigu's nails were coated with a deadly toxin called illusory replenishment. Just 1 minute, and the poison will infiltrate my whole body by then. Even a deity would find it hard to save me. The only way to get the antidote is to join the organization, otherwise, just wait to die. With no other options, I could only speak to the space of the mark of the royal pharmacist Valentin, asking if he could tell me how to detoxify. Hearing the affirmative response from the other side, I no longer worried about the poison. Currently, the strongest ancestor of this world resides within me. Regardless of the profession, he has reached the pinnacle. Thus, there's no reason for me to feel fear. He maintained his composure. Not a hint of fear in the face of death. Consumed by rage, I wanted him to see true terror. This poison would make his life worse than death. I tilted my body to dodge, and the trees behind me instantly withered. In a series of my moves, Gaigu continuously failed. Cornered, he clasped his hands together to unleash his final attack. But this move was nothing against me. I effortlessly shattered his assault. Instantly, I targeted Gaigu, launching a powerful strike. Next, I raised my hand, lifting him into the air. Gaigu was hurled high into the sky. I pointed my fingertip, gathering energy continuously, forcing him to accept the death of truth magic. Go to hell. Gaigu was now in disbelief. Why? Why does my poison have no effect on him? In the next moment, a brilliant light exploded in the sky. All the souls witnessed this miraculous phenomenon. Did everyone see that? This little brat was only possessed by us once. It turns out he has learned our skills. That is the power of the Void Seal. It's incredibly powerful. If he develops this and learns all our abilities, humanity will reach an unprecedented height. Can you believe it? The timid pharmacist king, upon entering the protagonist's body, let out a strange laugh and pointed his finger. A group of people in black clothes were swiftly flying through the city skyline, determined to complete their mission before Tianyuan arrived. The organization has already started to act. We can't afford to delay either. Hello there. Suddenly Tianyuan appeared behind them. You are the last ones, he said, and quickly raised his hand to deliver a powerful punch to the leader's head, leaving him terrified and meeting his fate. After resolving the situation, Tianyuan hurriedly made a call to check on the situation with Lin. And Lin also just arrived above my house, but he was surprised to find that he was late. The Sclass Awakened had already been dealt with. Tianyuan also came to my house, saw me unharmed, and was extremely relieved. He then asked if anyone was poisoned, offering his help to detoxify. Everything is fine now. My mother is safe, resting on the sofa. In the room, Lee Ichiro teased, how come nothing happened? If it weren't for Valentin's timely coordination and rescue, both of you would have met your fate already. It turns out that after defeating the enemy, Valentin immediately took control of my body to extract serum from Gaiga's corpse. Seeing that everything was resolved satisfactorily, Tianyuan kept apologizing to me. It turns out that the video of me fighting Tianyuan during the day had been leaked. Therefore, I was monitored by many organizations. Tianyuan was late because he was dealing with issues from these organizations. The person named Roski, and Sclass individual, is not Tianyuan's teammate, but just wanted to impersonate him to take me away. At that moment, Lin suddenly appeared, announcing that he had completed the mission. I could see the buildings that were devastated in the previous battle now restored to their former glory. Well then, let's discuss the important matter at hand. Your future choices. I cannot agree to that. It's far too dangerous. Tianyuan is trying to convince my mother to let me become his teammate. And he has gone to the place where he trains. Meanwhile, I am filled with excitement. Getting to become teammates with the strongest awakened one brings me closer to my dream. Since childhood, I've strived for this. No matter how many injuries I had to endure, nothing has changed. I can't ensure his complete safety. But don't you want to see him grow stronger, to become someone who is on par with the heroes and fulfill his own dreams? After some convincing, my mother finally agreed. The next day, I packed my bags and set off. Mom, I'm leaving now. Remember to take care of yourself and come home for the new year. A wave of nostalgia washed over me, and tears nearly spilled from my eyes. But when I opened the lunchbox my mother had lovingly prepared for me, I found myself unable to hold back the flood of tears. The journey was silent, and before long, we found ourselves amidst towering mountains. We have arrived. This is a recognized awakening unit by the state, the Prediction Organization. I gazed in awe at the house before me. A man stood by the second-floor window, looking down. Another newcomer has arrived. Inside the room, 5 individuals gathered, each seemingly having a different opinion about the newcomer. 2 girls appeared indifferent, while a blonde boy seemed quite excited about the prospect of a new teammate. The red-haired boy approached the window to assess whether the newcomer was up to par. I stood there with my luggage, astonished by this base. At that moment, an unexpected figure materialized in the air. Brace yourself. Not bad. You were able to take my hit. Seems like this training session might be a bit more interesting than I thought. With that, he leaped back and landed firmly on the ground. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yen Tailang, a fellow member of the Prediction Organization, just like you. I stared at the person in front of me, my expression one of bewilderment, while Tianyuan next to me watched the spectacle with amusement. In the next instant, Yen Tailang lunged at me. Wait, what do you mean by fellow member? Don't tell me you're going to explain while we fight. First, let's talk about the concept of the prediction team. Are you really going to explain while fighting? Isn't that quite efficient? Saves time. So what's your name? The Divine Pointer. Man. So, Man, do you know what the job of the Awakened is? Is it not to eliminate the monsters that surge forth from the rifts in space? That's right, but do you know if there's more to it than that? 10 years ago, the chaos at the Demon King's palace. 5 years ago, the great catastrophe in the Free Continent. Do you know what caused it? Wasn't it due to the massive rift? Exactly. That's what you might learn in the training academy, but that's only the official narrative. The truth is, it all stems from an invasion from another dimension. Hundreds of years ago, the Demon Tower appeared, marking the first invasion from that dimension. Even now, the ones behind it continue to test our world for reasons that remain unclear. Yet now, in this era, the awakened are significantly weaker than during the Tower's age. Those who possess abilities once comparable to their ancestors are now a minority. To combat the invasions from alternate dimensions, the prediction team was formed, composed of those who can foresee the future. Whenever disaster strikes again, the chosen ones must stand up to confront and resolve the crisis. We are those chosen ones. From this day forward, you too will be a part of us. The one who can continuously block my attacks. Hong Chi-jong, you are the first. Welcome to the prophecy team. After that strange battle, I earned the recognition of my opponents. My fellow companions stood on the rooftop, witnessing the aftermath of the clash. However, in just a moment, they vanished without a trace. It seemed that unless I proved myself, they would not acknowledge my worth. Yan Tairang enthusiastically led me back to the dormitory. That night, I sat on my bed, reflecting on everything Yan Tairang had said throughout the day. Could I truly defeat the one lurking behind another dimension? A wave of anxiety washed over me. I shouldn't let my thoughts spiral out of control. Suddenly, all the soul heroes appeared before me. The only thing you can do now is to relentlessly grow stronger. We discussed and decided to train you to become the most enlightened being of humanity. Neither the First World nor we, the original enlightened ones, possess the qualifications to be the strongest. But you, as our disciple, have the potential to rise above us all. Can you believe it? 106 soul heroes want to take me as their disciple, aiming to train me into the most powerful enlightened being of humanity. I was utterly astonished. In the past, they only coveted my physical form, but now their intentions have shifted. It's because your body is unique. If we seek to achieve this, we must defeat others. No one can guarantee victory in this chaos. Witnessing your battle with the Poison King SG, you have started to master our ultimate techniques. Though there's still room for improvement in accuracy and scale, the foundational skills have taken root. Whether this is influenced by the Void Seal or not, one thing is certain: your innate absorption ability surpasses that of anyone else. All of us have changed our perspective. Training you promises to be far more fascinating than merely acquiring your body. Hearing Li Yilang's words, tears welled up in my eyes unexpectedly. For the past 3 years, I had been seen as a useless individual, devoid of any talent. No one had any hopes for me. I was met with bullying and ridicule. Not even my own name was remembered. I once thought my future was bleak, but the first acknowledgement of my strength from the First World changed everything. Now, the first heroes declare that I am worthy of becoming the strongest enlightened being. Could this truly be possible? In my life, have I ever experienced such joy? Is it really good? The predecessors I admire have such high expectations of me. Years of pent-up frustration flowed like a stream, spilling out as tears. Thus, I became the disciple of the original enlightened ones. From Li Yilang, I learned that within my void seal, time and space became blurred, especially when I was asleep. The manipulation of time and space would be far freer than in reality. From now on, I must train while I sleep, dedicating 100 hours each day within the void seal. My journey has begun. Please guide me, my teachers. The next day, I woke up early. I had encountered Yan Tairang while we were washing up. Noticing my weary appearance, he joked about my restless night. However, as he scrutinized me closely, he was taken aback by the change in my aura. Today, magical energy now enveloped me. Suddenly, Yan Tairang lunged toward me, but I merely bent down to evade him. "I'm starving, I'm going to eat first," I said, taking my leave and leaving Yan Tairang with a perplexed expression. His kick had been much quicker than yesterday's, yet I effortlessly evaded him. Arriving at the prophecy canteen, Yan Tairang guided me to sit across from a long-haired girl. As I scrutinized her features, I realized she wasn't the one who had watched from the rooftop yesterday. She seems far from friendly, barely acknowledging my introduction. I have no intention of remembering your name, newcomer, she says nonchalantly. Yet I must admit, I find it natural to call you by name. At this moment, I'm on a daring prophetic mission, so follow me. In the vast currents of human history, an ancient book known as the Book of Destruction has been unexpectedly discovered. This is the first prophetic text ever found by humanity. Though its writings are still in their infancy, they meticulously document the great disasters the world is destined to face in the next 80 years. Each prophecy, if realized, promises devastation for the world. In 1945, as humanity ventured into the Antarctic continent beneath 3 kilometers of ice, this mysterious book revealed itself. When explorer Barnard Russell opened it, the first words appeared before him. Greetings, Barnard. March 17, 1945, 11:35 a.m., clear skies. The discovery of the Book of Destruction sent shockwaves around the globe, compelling humanity to trust the prophecies within its pages. First words revealed themselves. Greetings, Bernard. March 17, 1945, 11:35 a.m., clear weather. The explorer Bernard discovered the Book of Doom. This revelation shook the world to its core, leading humanity to believe in the prophecies contained in that book as the moon cast its shadow. The space program was but the seed of a bacterial infection assault. Each prophecy hung over humanity like a Damocles sword, poised to strike. To avert these impending disasters, humanity established an organization dedicated to prophecy. Every clue was meticulously collected and analyzed. The disasters foretold were categorized into 4 levels. Level 3, devastation at 1 or more locations. Level 2, larger-scale disasters affecting a nation or continent. Level 1, severe disturbances with global effects, and a special level, signifying extinction capable of obliterating the world. The so-called prophecy of doom is what is inscribed in the Book of Destruction. At the invitation of the girl with long hair, Yin-Tai Lang and I have joined this mission. The 3 of us swiftly arrived at the designated location, only to find a medium-sized spatial rift forming right in the middle of the street. We 3 moved straight towards that rift. Haisa saw us approaching and hurriedly blocked our path. It's very dangerous here. Ordinary people must leave immediately. Today's prophecy speaks of a Level 3 spatial rift, classified as Level B. According to the prophecy in the Level 3 book, the Celestial Beast, the rift will only grow larger. In the blink of an eye, it had already expanded significantly, from which emerged vicious wolf-like creatures. Kaisha immediately prepared for battle, launching a punch towards the evil beast. However, the overwhelming numbers of awakened individuals proved too much to withstand. Only Kaisha remained, struggling to fend them off, while a more terrifying aura emanated from the spatial rift. Just then, Kaisha, worried, saw the 3 of us advancing toward the center of the battlefield. The girl with long hair gently raised her hand, readying her highest alchemical technique, Mercury Gun. Instantly, it pierced through a multitude of beastmen. Yin-Tai Lang followed suit, using the Lu Konit Kim technique against one of the beastmen, whose power was astonishing enough to leave Kaisha in awe. At that moment, compared to Kaisha, the Level S awakeners seemed like mere mortals. The malevolent energy from the rift intensified. Suddenly, a horrifying creature was about to emerge from the rift, revealing itself to be a monster of Level S or higher, Beastman Renel. Yin-Tai Lang and the girl with long hair immediately initiated their attacks. But alas, their strikes seemed ineffective, as it appeared that conventional physical attacks struggled to harm this behemoth. Meanwhile, the monster charged straight at the girl with long hair. As it prepared to unleash a mercury shield, I instinctively stepped in front of her, using my hand to block the impact from the creature. In that moment, an immense power surged from my palm. This power pierced through the beast's body, resulting in an explosive force. Everyone witnessing this spectacle was left in awe. With a single strike, I had defeated an S-class monster. It was true this morning was not an illusion. I had significantly grown stronger overnight. I felt the transformation within my body. This was the result of my training last night, destroying from within and piercing through the outer defenses. I joyfully turned to the girl behind me and asked, "Can you tell me your name?" She smiled and replied, "Tin Teokongai." They quickly began clearing the area around the rift. The 2 of them stood adeptly by the rift while we prepared to enter. Kaisha, hearing this, was filled with dread. That rift was a one-way ticket to chaos, but I hesitated not for a moment. We charged straight towards the rift in space. As the three of us stepped in, Haisa stood frozen, lacking the courage to enter that ominous crack. Could they truly be the secret organization everyone whispered about, here, in this realm of the unknown? In that space, hundreds of wolf-like creatures surged like a tempest. Yet the rooster was accustomed to facing these wolves with a single strike. A barrage of arrows was unleashed, swiftly taking them down. Yin Tai Lang and I stood behind, relishing the spectacle. Just then, a bear appeared before the rooster. Without hesitation, Yin Tai Lang dashed in to assist, effortlessly subduing the foolish bear. After a series of stunning moves, he struck a pose brimming with charisma. Seizing the moment, I mimicked his maneuvers, launching a flurry of identical techniques and mocked, "Is this how it's done?" We swiftly dealt with the weaklings, blocking our path deep into the rift. Suddenly, a colossal silhouette plummeted from the sky. Boss, a level S blind minotaur. Unfazed, the little rooster immediately launched an attack. The supreme alchemist wizard materialized, revealing a magical circle beneath the minotaur's feet. Instantly, golden saws began to rain down from it. The rooster tirelessly expended magic to suppress the minotaur. Witnessing such a dazzling display, Yin Tai Lang couldn't help but gasp in awe. Just as he prepared to deliver a decisive blow to the minotaur, I clearly observed from behind that the rooster's attack had no effect whatsoever on the beast. As they expressed their doubts to me, the minotaur stirred. Both of them were left incredulous. The minotaur stood there, utterly unharmed. Alchemy is a double-edged sword that slowly emerged behind me. What a pity for such a remarkable talent. A girl of her age achieving such mastery in alchemical magic, truly a shame that her methods are flawed. This boss possesses a physical resistance of up to 100. Allow me to borrow your body, so I can show her what true alchemy looks like. With that, he approached Xiaogongxi, concentrating on conjuring a vast quantity of mercury, which immediately enveloped the minotaur's lower half in a shimmering layer. Witnessing this, the young noble couldn't contain his surprise. "How do you know alchemy? What are you doing? Physical attacks won't affect that monster." "How foolish. Your alchemical skills are still too immature. Matter exists in 3 states. It's not always necessary to inflict damage in solid form. For example, boiling steam." Suddenly, the minotaur's body blazed bright red, spewing a torrent of scalding water along with a thick cloud of steam. Astonishingly, a super boss was instantly incinerated. My first mission was successfully accomplished. The level 3 prediction in the Golden Tome had been thwarted. This task concluded with resounding success. One man, merely for defeating a leopard, was urgently dispatched to investigate a mysterious town. In this world, the strength of each individual stems from their own hands. Their unique marks determine the paths they choose. Some are mages who manipulate arcane magic, others are dancers with extraordinary power, and there are skilled swordsmen proficient in the art of combat. And now, I find myself capable of wielding various abilities. This revelation left the young master in disbelief, yet he acknowledged my strength. After emerging from the spatial rift, we intended to return and submit our report, leaving behind an awe-inspiring image that would make everyone admire us. We swiftly made our way back to the headquarters of the Prediction Organization. Upon entering the 3rd research hall, we discovered that we were not alone. Indeed, the red-haired individual was already present. "Since everyone is here, let us gather and listen," declared Mayor Lei Yan, before playing the video sent by the analysis team. The video displayed a blazing crimson object. In truth, it was a prediction book, uncovered in the long-forgotten charred volcanic region. Thanks to the latest X-ray technology and AI, a portion of its contents had been decoded. Among the revelations was a prophecy concerning the island. Hearing this, everyone felt a wave of astonishment. It had been ages since a completely new prophecy had been discovered. Since all the official members were away, I requested the assistance of the 4 of you to investigate the specific circumstances. The information has been sent to your inbox. Please set off immediately. Thus, we vaguely accepted this special mission. Regarding this prophecy, the information was scarce and the mission level was low, primarily focused on investigation. Should any unexpected situations arise, ensure your safety. We must wait for the official members to take action." The destination was quite far, and everyone dozed off in the vehicle. Only the young master fought to stay awake, yet ultimately succumbed to the wave of sleep that washed over him. He quickly drifted into slumber. However, when he awoke again, he found himself alone in the vehicle. Furious, the young master dashed out and berated the others. "Why didn't you wake me when we arrived? Look ahead, something's out there." It was then he realized. There was something amiss in everyone's reactions. They hurriedly turned their gazes forward. Before them loomed a massive magical circle, inscribed with arcane symbols enveloping this area. We had arrived too late. The prediction had already unfolded. According to the documents, the crystal pillar contained the villagers, precisely those 23 individuals. This prediction was alarmingly close to the apartment complex that vanished 30 years ago. Back then, the prophecy had almost opened a gateway to another dimension. Just at that moment, the purple crystal began to show signs of abnormality. While these two cowards hesitated, unsure of what to do, the red-haired one stepped forward without a moment's delay. "Let me handle this," he declared, disregarding the mayor's warnings. Suddenly, a surge of potent magical energy erupted from behind them. "Yes, it's me. In front of a genius, I feel utterly powerless to speak. A sense of regret washes over me. We must act to prevent this impending crisis." The others didn't expect a rookie like me to voice such bold intentions. "I hope you won't become a burden. Follow my lead." With that, the red-haired one leaped down, and thus the rookie team reached a silent agreement and followed suit. In this moment, the first awakened one caught sight of the chaos outside. He sighed, "This aura feels so familiar, like the essence of the battlefield." Beneath the shimmering moonlight, before a grave, a hand emerged from the earth. An ancient man, using his very own blood, inscribed the character for demon, resurrecting himself in the modern world. Legends tell of an awakened one long ago, a minion of a sorcerer of that era. He was known as Ban Dong, a taboo figure. Yet he slaughtered countless innocents in times of peace. Ultimately, he was defeated by a fellow awakened one, the Yin-Yang Master. In his escape, he stumbled upon a village. He seized control of the entire village. "Though I have failed, one day I will rise again, seeking this world to become the Demon King, devouring all life." He laughed maniacally. "With my blood, I shall carve a resurrection array, bringing forth all lives in this sacrificial ritual." Back in reality, the four of us, as novice investigators, had only come to uncover the prophecy this time, unaware of how dire the situation truly was. We made the decision to intervene. Ban Dong, the level of combat unknown, stood beneath the moonlight, familiarizing himself with his newly resurrected form. His strength was yet to fully return. It seemed the number of offerings was insufficient. At that moment, we charged from behind, each unleashing our signature moves towards Ban Dong. However, for him, this was perfectly timed. "My feast has arrived." Instantly, his arm swung, and he deftly evaded our attacks. Simultaneously, a sinister array appeared beneath our feet, swiftly engulfed by a powerful wave of energy. We were thrown back, miraculously escaping serious injury, yet I sensed something was amiss. I quickly warned the others in midair, "Watch out for the array beneath you." But it was too late. Countless bloodied hands ensnared them, rendering them immobile. Just when Ban Dong believed his victory was assured, I launched a surprise attack at his flank. Ah! After a flurry of blows, I doubted my eyes. My opponent had merely used a finger to absorb my strike. At that moment, the blonde one seized the opportunity, executing the golden flower blade technique. Countless blades surged from all directions toward Ban Dong. Unfortunately, he effortlessly dodged them. "You don't think such attacks can defeat me, do you?" he sneered. "I never believed such an assault could bring me down." Instantly, the blonde raised his sword and thrust it fiercely into the ground, summoning even more blades to launch forth. Yet, Ban Dong showed no fear in the face of this attack. It was utterly pointless. In an instant, Ban Dong charged towards the red-haired one. It turned out he was the strongest among them. I stood by, watching the clash between the two, unsure of what to do. The feeling Ban Dong brought to me was as unpredictable as the winds of destiny, akin to Tianyuan and luck. At that moment, the young master and Yen Tai-lang unleashed their full power, their bloodied hands flung aside. The two rushed forward to assist. yet the poor soul merely brushed his arm back dismissively. 3 matrices of different colors appeared before them, and instantly 3 sea monsters emerged. The young master and Ha Dian Tai Lang thought they could resolve the situation immediately, but to their shock, their attacks inflicted no harm upon the beasts. These creatures were on par with a blind minotaur. A green sea monster loomed before me, and I heard its mocking words. "You were underestimated. Now, there's no one left to aid you." Upon hearing this, the red-haired one seemed provoked, swinging his blade, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Ban Dong bore deep wounds across his body. "Do you need help?" I asked. I had always handled my affairs alone. Just me was enough to deal with everything. Ban Dong, surveying his injuries, nodded in agreement with the red-haired one's words. "I need no one's assistance. All will become my prey." With that proclamation, he suddenly became even more frantic, charging at the red-haired one. As he was forced to retreat, he darted towards me. He couldn't believe he had summoned a deity, leaving only his lower half rooted in place. In the very next moment, my fist struck, sending Ban Dong flying away. The red-haired one stared at me in disbelief. Aren't we supposed to defeat him together? Meanwhile, Yen Tai Lang and the young master were ensnared by the sea monsters. Now, it was just the two of us, the red-haired one and I, who could confront this boss. Let's combine our strength to defeat him. But the red-haired one, ever the lone wolf, rejected my proposal. I need no help from others. That one is mine to defeat. Just as I was about to ask why, Ban Dong launched an attack. One of his hands conjured a sphere of darkness aimed at us. The red-haired one swiftly slashed off his arm and leaped back to evade the onslaught, while I wasn't as fortunate. Struck by that negative energy projectile, I was hurled away. Ban Dong immediately reattached his severed arm in midair and continued his assault on the red-haired one, while I was flung backwards, leaving deep imprints on the ground until I collided with a tree and finally came to a halt. Slowly, I regained consciousness, my hands severely injured from the recent impact. Fortunately, I had only fainted for a moment. On the other side, the red-haired one and Ban Dong were embroiled in a fierce battle. The red-haired one was clearly at a disadvantage. If this continued, it would truly be perilous. The blade could slice through anything. Now that very hand blocked the blade. Ban Dong suddenly let out a loud cry. "All shall become my food." In the very next instant, he brought his hand down to sever the arm wielding the dagger of the red-haired one. Faced with such a brutal confrontation, a chill of horror washed over me. The opponent was a powerful sorcerer who could wield resurrection techniques with such precision. In a city brimming with offerings, this person could truly manifest as a demon lord among mortals. Therefore, I must stop him here. Hand your body over to one of us. This time, allow us to eliminate him. Don't think of this as training. It's a real battle. I can't always rely on you guys. Eventually, I must face them myself. Do you remember the promise we made before I am determined to surpass all of you? After hearing my words, Li Yichang burst into laughter. Go ahead, do as you wish. Let's see the fruits of your training. All right. After the master finished speaking, he immediately charged toward the battlefield. On the battlefield, the red-haired fighter was being pushed back, struggling to fend off the attacks from Ban Dong. In the next instant, the red-haired warrior was sent soaring into the air. Ban Dong swiftly concentrated, gathering a dark energy sphere aimed at the red-haired figure suspended midair. His arm lost all feeling, and the long sword slipped from his grip. Could this be the end for him? Just as the red-haired warrior braced to surrender, a hand appeared, grasping the sword. "Let me borrow this for a moment." With that, I snatched his weapon, causing the red-haired fighter to lose his balance and crash to the ground. At that moment, Ban Dong's accumulated attack was unleashed, shooting straight toward me. With a swift slash, Ban Dong's arm was severed, and he stared at me in shock. "Who are you, really?" I replied. "I am Shen Ji Man, the one destined to become the strongest among the awakened." On one side stands a sorcerer resurrected from 1,000 years ago, on the other, a newly emerged talent just beginning his journey. Can Man defeat that sorcerer? Who knows, but he is no reckless fool. Even in his sleep, he seizes every opportunity to train. On the battlefield, Ban Dong's severed arm was reattached. Our clash officially began. The red-haired warrior watched in amazement as I transformed. The words from before echoed in his mind, and the feelings of his teammates began to shift within him. The sensation of magical resonance grew stronger. This kid has a lot of skills, doesn't he? After a thunderous explosion scattered debris everywhere, I immediately executed the technique I had learned in the mark space. Not good, light reflection. In an instant, I appeared right behind Bandong. I swung my blade toward Bandong's head, but alas, he managed to dodge just in time. A mere scratch was left on his cheek. As I lunged to attack again, the moment had slipped away. The hen fell, cleaved in two, and beneath my feet, a colossal magic circle materialized, unleashing a fierce surge of arcane energy that ignited the battlefield. I burst forth from the cloud of dust, quickly regaining my composure. I believed that by skillfully applying everything my master had taught me in this battle, victory would surely be mine. Bandong gazed at the wounds on his hands, unable to comprehend the fusion of swordsmanship, body techniques, and sorcery at play before him. This kid, is there anything he doesn't know? Although he's not yet flawless, every skill he possesses is executed with remarkable proficiency. It feels as if all his abilities are blending together in perfect harmony. The spirits around him gaze in astonishment at the scene unfolding before their eyes. Who would have imagined that this boy could grow up so quickly? But still, that alone isn't enough to defeat this sorcerer. Let the games begin. Suddenly, the entire area erupts into flames. The small one senses danger from above and leaps aside just as a colossal bone crashes down. Everyone looks up in shock, their faces a mix of awe and fear. A gigantic skeleton materializes right before us. Bandong stands with his arms raised above his head, joy radiating from him beyond words. This is it. In the next moment, the enormous hand of the skeleton lunges toward me. The spirits, witnessing this, urgently call out for me to flee. Why aren't you running? Right now I may not be strong enough, but I refuse to yield. Suddenly, the teachings of Mares echo in my mind. To master magic, one must follow a sequence first, the low-level fire spell, and the swordsmanship that Lee Ichiro taught emphasizes a decisive strike. In that fleeting moment of raising my sword, I cast aside all confusion and fear. My left hand ignites with the magical flames Mirrors taught me, while my right grips the sword Lee Ichiro has bestowed upon me. The two hands slowly draw closer together, and then a miracle occurs. The long sword in my grasp bursts into intense flames. Mirrors and Lee Ichiro watch in disbelief at this spectacle. I raise the flaming sword, determined to slice Bandong down to the depths of hell. With those words, I bring my sword down in a decisive arc, affirming the end. Just like that, Bandong is cleaved in two. Never return again. Mastering the art of self-creation is as easy as pie. First, you need to find a long sword. Then, simply unleash a burst of flames. Combine the two, and voila, you've successfully crafted your own skill. Just press a button, and your colossal enemy will be cleaved in two. Flames gradually spread as Bandong was split in half, eyes wide with disbelief at this incredible sight. The sword's handle, witnessing this moment in the arena, exclaimed joyfully, "So that's how it works. Fascinating." Marvel lies in the ability to harness all skills within the system and blend them freely. Today, one can wield two abilities simultaneously and fuse them to create a unique skill. This means that in the future, even greater possibilities await. After hearing the sword's analysis, Li Nut Lang was overwhelmed with joy. The future is brimming with potential. Back on the battlefield, I was utterly exhausted, ready to collapse at any moment. I thought the battle had come to an end. Just then, from the direction of Bandung, blood bubbles erupted continuously. Miraculously, the lower half that had just been severed began to regenerate. That was dangerously close. Had I been struck in the head, I certainly would not have survived. With that thought, I began to gather a sphere of darkness in my hand. Despair washed over me as I gazed upon this scene. Just as I was about to unleash a beam of light, a swift strike from Da Tuk sliced through He Sing Sun. In disbelief, Bandung watched his head soar away, astonished that it was his own comrade who dealt the blow. Before he could utter another word, Da Tuk swiftly finished the job. In an instant, Bandung was sliced into 8 pieces. In the final moments of his life, Bandung witnessed Da Tuk sliding in gracefully to catch me as I began to fall. This scene brought back memories from the past. On a bitterly cold winter day, Bandung endured hunger, cradling his dying brother. "Hang on, Food will come soon, he had said, but his brother slipped away regardless. On the bridge, people sang and danced as if in paradise, while below it felt like the depths of hell. From that moment on, Bandung was left all alone. In the final breath of his existence, he suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of solitude, light yet suffocatingly heavy. The once mighty sorcerer had completely vanished. Bintai Lang and Teo Kong Kei finally rushed over to check on us. Everyone's safe, that's wonderful. Just then, a catastrophic event unfolded. A crack appeared in the barrier above. The entire barrier was on the verge of collapse, and the energy within was powerful enough to consume an entire town. Gyoilo had fainted, and the remaining three quickly took their battle stances, preparing to unleash their strongest attacks in hopes of mitigating the destruction when the barrier fell. At this moment, my body moved on its own, raising the long sword as it gathered strength. In truth, Linette Lang was once again controlling my body. "You're doing great. Now, leave it to me." In the next instant, a terrifying power surged straight towards the four of us. Meanwhile, not far from the barrier, three men were approaching. Upon seeing the barrier completely destroyed, they stopped in their tracks. It seems we are too late. Just then, a surge of green energy shot up into the sky. Linette Lang's powerful attack had shattered the energy of the barrier. The three men stared in disbelief at the scene unfolding before them. What an incredible arrow! The newcomer was none other than Captain To Fung of the Prophecy Organization, leading the main characters into battle. They had barely dealt with a level 1 prophecy, yet Thienguin effortlessly executed a vortex that obliterated a high-level prophecy. High above Peru, Thienguin was on a plane, conversing over the phone. A prophecy of unknown level has just been taken down with a single blow. Truly remarkable. On the other end of the line was Captain To Fung, who had arrived for support. At that moment, he was standing before a gigantic headless dragon, as if fresh from battle. Finally confirmed, it's a level 2, but I believe the hidden danger is still quite high. Compared to the level 1 prophecy, Thienguin felt immense joy upon hearing this. In unseen places, everyone was quietly growing stronger. Moreover, the one who contributed the most to this prophecy mission was none other than Thun Chi, who had just joined less than 2 days ago. I heard you brought him along. I want to know who he is. Upon hearing this, Thienguin smiled. The one who can put an end to all prophecies may just be the one we've been hoping for. Captain To Fung on the other end seemed surprised. Do you have such high hopes for him? If you don't mind, please tell me. Do I really need to verify this myself? You should hurry back. I'm feeling quite bored. Truly, without you, it's hard to discern victory from defeat. Thienguin chuckled upon hearing this, but just then, an untimely sound came through the earpiece. The target has appeared. Before the plane, a massive silhouette loomed. A super prophet at sunset. The boss has self-destructed due to the mind. At that moment, the monster's eyes suddenly opened, unleashing a terrifying pressure that enveloped the entire sky. Nevertheless, Thienguin calmly spoke on the phone. "Athan, I have to deal with something for a moment." With that, a swirling vortex of green energy began to gather in his hand, the ultimate technique of Thienguin, the godly vortex. The scene transitioned as I awoke from my unconscious state, realizing I was lying on a hospital bed. Through the nurses beside me, I discerned that this was the infirmary of the Prophecy Organization. I must have been in a coma for several days. As I struggled to regain my senses, I noticed Da Tuk sitting across from me. "You haven't been sitting there watching me this whole time, have you? Where are Bintai Lang and Teo Kong Kei?" From Da Tuk, I learned that ever since their return from the mission, they had been dedicated to training. It seemed they were quite dissatisfied with their performance during the mission. At that moment, Da Tuk asked the question I had been anticipating the most. Who are you really? In the end, whether it was defeating a colossal enemy or shattering the energy barrier, your overwhelming power took center stage. Just 2 days in, you've already triumphed over a level 3 Oracle and a level 1 Future Panther. As for the skills you possess, the most impressive aspect is the ultimate combination. Even now, I've never heard of anything like it. What should I do? Red Hair seems eager to become as powerful as I am. Yet at that moment, Captain Su Fuang suddenly barged in. Red Hair looked at the newcomer in disbelief and exclaimed, Why are you here? However, Captain Sufuang paid no mind to his younger brother and purposefully walked past Red Hair to my hospital bed. Still dazed, I realized the person approaching was Red Hair's older brother. Suddenly, a gleaming sword slashed directly towards me. Fortunately, I managed to dodge just in time, leaping to the ceiling behind me. I asked seriously, "What are you doing? This isn't an attack a regular student could evade. You've proven yourself worthy." Hearing those words left me bewildered as my opponent continued gravely. "I am Captain Sufuang of the Oracle Organization, Sufuang City. Based on your outstanding performance, I would like to temporarily invite you to join my team." I barely had time to process this before Red Hair, in shock, couldn't believe it. Even I hadn't earned my brother's recognition. Yet here I was, being directly invited by him. Red Hair stood there, a look of frustration frozen on his face, seemingly consumed by jealousy. Meanwhile, I was still dazed, following Captain Su Fuang. Over at the training grounds, Luyen Tailang and Tio Kong Tu were frantically training, the ground littered with weapons forged from alchemy. It was a pity we couldn't help at that moment. Just then, a figure appeared at the door. To my surprise, Tianwen was diligently practicing, as if he had just returned from vacation. I brought back many local specialties to share with Tianwen, but a single roar blew all my gifts away. Seeing Tianwen return, the two rushed over, leaving him bewildered. I was only gone for a week, yet Yen Tailang and Tio Kongtu said seriously, "We want to become stronger. We won't fall behind under the guidance of the divine finger." Looking at their excited faces, Tianwen couldn't help but reflect. These kids had been sulking just days before. Who would have thought they could ignite such determination in the blink of an eye? With joy, I agreed with them. Just then, another person approached the gate. "Let me join you. I beg you, I just woke up, and my peers are already treating me like an outcast." Yen Tailang and Tio Kong Tu learned from Red Hair that I had joined Team Su Fuang, officially becoming a member. Both looked on in surprise. At the same time, Tianyuan seemed to remember something. This seemed to be the advice I gave to Cheng in the previous episode. Now I am following Captain Su from him. I know there will be an early departure mission tomorrow. Suddenly, Captain Su stopped and called me Chen to point it over. "You know Genji?" This question confuses me. We have only seen each other for 2 days. It was only during the battle in Honda that our relationship improved a bit. I picked up his sword, and he was by my side until I woke up. Is this enough to call it a better relationship? Upon hearing my answer, he simply gave a cold answer to a question. Well, at the same time, neither of you cared. I was really worried about the conflict. Not long ago, he just glanced at me. Because I can't bear to see pain, I just want my brother to see that I must work hard to become strong. Whether your abilities are strong or weak, I just hope you are safe. Listening to Captain Su's concern for Genji, I couldn't help but marvel at your good relationship. Captain Su responded proudly, "Of course, I will definitely defeat my brothers. My brothers are my most important relatives. I have always believed that their relationship is good." In the Prophet organization, there are a few elite regular combat teams, the smallest fixed formation of 7 people. In direct combat, members compete with each other, and the final winner will receive the strongest title. On the Soviet Army's Shansen military aircraft, the Soviet side is showcasing our strength. The Soviet captain has the strength of 90 people. So, you shouldn't be arrogant just because you joined at the last minute. Let the Soviet captain be responsible for everything. When I heard the teachings of my senior and kept texting Yantaro and others, Sun Jun saw me and was very angry, but he didn't know how important this information was. On the other side, the little rooster and Genji received a message filled with anger. Only Yantaro remained calm. On one side, Tianyuan curiously approached the phone screen and wrote a suggestion to become stronger. Give Yantaro some advice to become stronger. Give the little rooster some advice to become stronger. Give Sufang Genji some advice. Tianyuan turned the page curiously in my heart, and now the 3 of them are coordinating in their own way, each with their own expertise. Even I must praise Tianyuan for turning to the 3 of them, who have indeed received an invaluable gift. Despite the anger and reluctance brewing within us, the 3 of us decided to stick to the training plan. After washing up, we were to await further orders. On the plane, I felt a deep sense of gratitude towards my mentors. At last, all communications were swiftly sent, and we arrived at the destination of our mission. We reached a snow-covered mountain where this prediction task had been ranked #1 globally and was now in a state of freezing. This disaster would cause the ground to continue freezing relentlessly, the icy expanse spreading exponentially. If left unchecked, Lantam would soon be engulfed in frost. This catastrophe was unfolding simultaneously across the globe. Even in some of the cities, chaos had erupted in various nations. Deputy Captain So Fuanghuang sighed, reporting that the expansion was happening faster than anticipated. It seems we need to act with more urgency. The helicopter's operational range has reached its limit. We jumped out of the rear cabin and pressed onward. Do not bring disaster to the village. Everyone, remember the 3 principles of Team Sofuang. 1. Speed is our essence. 2. Attack without hesitation. 3. Heroes bend the heavens. I stood behind, reminiscing about the battle at Bandung. Ultimately, it was thanks to the strength of Linyat Lang that I managed to overcome peril. This temporary team-up presented a brilliant opportunity to learn from the official members. This time, I had to accomplish the mission with my own strength, and so I leaped down with them. However, this mission would turn out to be an unforgettable failure in my life. Who could have anticipated that a level 1 prediction of a global freeze could be triggered by just a small soldier reaching a saga level? The members of Team Sofuang had arrived at the predicted site, which was completely shrouded in snow and ice. The current temperature plummeted to 37 degrees, even lower than the report indicated. Doubts filled my mind as I turned to Junshan, asking if the predictions of this global freeze were recorded in the forecast books. No, he replied. These are the sensations that those who can perceive the unseen have detected. There were many predictions, but this was the first to be classified as level 1. At this moment, the deputy captain approached, sensing the tension. Don't worry too much. Although this is your first encounter with a level 1 prediction, believe that you can handle it. That's right, relax. The prediction organization had 8 official teams on the island, yet Team Sofuang had only a handful of level 1 predictions. The deputy captain noticed Junshan seemed embarrassed and raised his voice, reminding us not to be complacent and to maintain necessary vigilance. Just then, Junshan's demeanor shifted dramatically. My radar detected an enemy presence. I then realized that the tips of Junshan's fingers were entwined with multiple strands of golden energy. The target was at 2 o'clock, approximately 200 meters away from us. In the next instant, the deputy captain made his move. He vanished before my eyes, only to appear moments later next to the captain. At the location indicated by Junshan, multiple monsters were detected, estimated to be around 30 with a level S threat. Hearing this information from the deputy captain sent a chill down my spine. Captain Sofuang immediately commanded everyone to attack. In the next moment, the other members charged forward, engaging in fierce combat on both sides. I watched in awe as the scene unfolded before me. Whether it was gathering intelligence or battling monsters, these were truly the elite members of our team. Suddenly, I felt a surge of courage and wanted to join them in battle. With the captain's permission, I instantly entered combat mode. After vanquishing the monster before me, I quickly realized that things were not going well on the other side. I could hear the vice captain shout, "Be careful, there's a strong one lurking among them." Without hesitation, I decided to use my fusion skill, declaring my intent to sever the monster in half. Realizing the danger too late, I swiftly cut it in 2 with a single slash. Jinshan turned around, eyes wide with surprise, and the vice captain gave me an approving glance that spoke volumes. "Kiddo," he remarked. Captain Sofuang, on the other hand, merely waved his hand a few times, effortlessly dispatching the remaining monsters. It seemed this was the talent that Gankoi had praised so highly. That evening, we took a break at an ice house. "How's it going, Junshan? Have you found anything?" Sadly, no. Within a 10-kilometer radius, there's not a single beautiful sight to behold. It looks like we'll have to stay here overnight and continue the search tomorrow. For now, I sat alone by the outdoor fire, eager to experiment. I wondered if I could learn a new fusion skill. One hand enveloped in lightning energy, the other gathering the essence of water. As the two elements converged, a voice suddenly rang out from behind me. You really are passionate about training. The captain's presence startled me, interrupting my practice. We began to chat about everyday life. This was my first time camping outdoors, and I felt exhilarated. Yet I found myself longing to return home sooner. I missed my cat so much it felt uncomfortable not to cuddle with it for a whole day. The captain's words surprised me. I couldn't believe someone as powerful as Captain So Fuang had a fondness for cats. When she spoke of her feline friend, it was as if she transformed into a different person. She pulled out her phone, sitting closer to me to introduce her cat. Her name is Mandao. She causes chaos around the house every day, and she's so proud that she often refuses to come near me. Just like Tron Chun, isn't she adorable? Being near her brings such joy. If only I could share that same bond with Tron Chun. As an only child, I didn't fully understand the feelings of siblinghood. If he were your younger brother, you should care for him more. Sibling relationships thrive on interaction to strengthen their bonds. Indeed, it's such a simple reason that I never grasped. Just then, the vice captain approached us, saying, "What are you two doing here? Hurry and rest, we need to wake up early tomorrow and complete our mission." Thus, we had spent a peaceful night. However, at the foot of the snowy mountain, a mysterious man walked across the icy landscape. At that moment, he was spotted by a nearby guard on watch. This mountain is treacherous. At this hour, death lurks around every corner. Are you the awakened one? I am here to fulfill a mission, the mysterious man replied softly. Yes, we are here to complete our task, but not to prevent the prophecy from happening. Rather, we are here to make it a reality. In his hand, he held a blue book of predictions. Thus, an enigmatic awakened one stepped into the vast expanse of this great mountain. This is a crucial mission. To prevent the prophecy of global freezing from coming true, I joined Team Sofuang as a temporary member to tackle this crisis together. On the frozen snowy mountain, I found myself in a space of seals, receiving guidance from the masters. Nearly 2 hours passed, and I still wondered when the target would appear. Now, I was drenched in sweat, trying to erase all distractions from my mind. Focusing my spirit, I recalled the strength of the Sofuang team members. At this moment, I just wanted to grow stronger. Finally, after a night of rigorous training, I hit the target. The next day, we prepared to continue the hunt for the boss. We must complete our mission today. Thanks to Junshan's abilities, we quickly discovered numerous monsters. Although we handled them with ease, an unsettling feeling lingered. Just then, Junshan detected a massive energy source rapidly approaching. It could very well be the boss. In the next moment, a colossal humanoid monster appeared before us, the mysterious boss, Karlmi, at level unknown. Seeing this, Team Sofuang sprang into action. Junshan used golden threads to bind the boss' arms, while the vice captain clawed at the creature's ankles. The other members immediately unleashed their skills against the boss. However, after the attack, the boss remained unscathed. At that moment, I leaped high, ready to unleash my most powerful fusion skill, declaring my intent to behead the beast. What I couldn't believe was that my attack was completely ineffective. Awaiting me was a powerful counter from the boss. Are you all right? That was so strong it almost ended us. Everyone, fall back and let me handle this. With that, the others quickly retreated. Junshan swiftly pulled me out of the battlefield, leaving only Team Captain Sofuang standing before the boss. The massive creature raised 2 long blades, aggressively swinging them at the captain. Amidst the swirling dust, Captain Sofuang stood unharmed, coldly gazing at the foe. You are indeed powerful, but it's a pity you have encountered me. With one strike, the boss' arms were severed. If only I could wish for my teammates to gather experience to defeat bosses like you. Witnessing this, the members of Team Sofuang immediately erected a barrier. The team leader, Sofuang, prepared to drive, and flames erupted instantly, engulfing everything around. The boss had been cleaved in 2. I was astonished at this sight. My blazing sword mirrored the same destructive power. But it was far more potent. Is this truly the might of team leader Sofuang? What a pity this is where it ends. The captain swiftly fired another arrow, slicing through the boss's flank. We couldn't contain our joy. We had triumphed. Yet, in the very next moment, the captain's arms suddenly vanished. What is happening? Turning back, I saw a circular hole had appeared in the barrier, mirrored by an identical wound on Junshan's chest. I was horrified by this scene. Other team members were instantly attacked as well. One by one, they fell. What is going on? We were merely a squad to defeat the boss, and now, just as victory was within reach, we were caught off guard. I couldn't believe my eyes as I glanced back. A bleeding wound had suddenly appeared on Junshan's chest. I rushed over, intending to catch him as he was about to collapse, but he, the beastly figure, used his last ounce of strength to push me away. In the next instant, an unseen attack pierced through Junshan. How could this be? Damn it, my radar showed no signs, Captain. Where is the enemy? My body was growing cold, blood staining the white snow. Yet the attacks did not cease. More comrades fell. How could this beast do such a thing? Everyone, lower your bodies and find cover. This is a skill attack. Looking at the lifeless bodies on the ground, team leader So Fuang felt the pain from his broken arm. Compared to the fury surging within him, that pain was trivial. Even the barrier couldn't withstand the assault. This was undoubtedly a signature skill of the enemy. Merely touching anything would lead to its obliteration. Judging from the direction of the attack, he must be positioned here. Yet, just as team leader Su left, the boss, previously cleaved in half, unexpectedly resurrected. Seeing this, the vice captain quickly regained his composure. Leave this to me. Meanwhile, I could only kneel on the ground, devoid of any fighting spirit. Watching my fallen comrades before me, my heart ached as I prayed to the great healer Varantha. Can you save them? I pleaded. I'm sorry, but no skill can resurrect the dead. Please, there must be another way. Lee Ichiro noticed I could no longer continue the fight. Let me handle this. Immediately, Lee Ichiro took over my body, and the atmosphere shifted drastically. Team leader Su charged in one direction, with Junshan's radar covering a radius of 3 kilometers. This meant the enemy was outside this range. While my arm and Junshan's body were attacked simultaneously, it indicated that the enemy was on the same straight line. With rapidly increasing strength, I spotted the target not far away. A mysterious man stood amidst the white snow, arms crossed before his chest. When Captain Su saw the mysterious man, memories of fallen comrades flooded back. I will not forgive you. A flash of light ignited as a massive fireball surged towards the mysterious man, and a dark orb emerged. To my surprise, both the sword and the flames were dispelled. I never expected you to sense my presence so quickly. Truly, Captain Su is the strongest. If only your left arm were intact, it would indeed be a troublesome matter. Now, prepare to meet your end. With that, the dark orb beside him erupted in a violent explosion. Aimed directly at Captain Su, he swung his sword with immense power, sending snowflakes flying and obscuring the enemy's vision. In an instant, he appeared behind the man. Damn it, it must be you. Without hesitation, he struck fiercely at the enemy's wrist. But to his surprise, not only did the sword wound the flesh, but it was also countered by the dark orb's attack. Captain Su, you are far too overconfident. It seems I am on the brink of victory. Damn it. The man kicked at Captain Su's wound. Boring, isn't it? Immediately, Captain Su jabbed the hilt of his sword straight into the man's chest. Those previous attacks activated once and then ceased, yet they possessed the power to nullify nearly everything. It's impossible to keep activating them endlessly. Surely, you must be expending a significant amount of energy. Do you truly believe that death, even if you guess correctly, your death will remain unchanged? Our Sioux army never fears death. We only grow stronger with each battle. Then, flames erupted ferociously. My bloodied arm was instantly engulfed in fire. The searing pain coursing through my veins rendered me unable to continue. Do not underestimate the Sioux army. Are you planning to burn your own life away? Then come at me. I will not shy away. I felt utterly defeated as I gazed upon my fallen comrades lying lifeless on the ground. Despair washed over me, leaving me devoid of hope to fight on. Next, let everyone. Suddenly, the ancestral mark in the space took over my body. The atmosphere around me shifted dramatically. The vice captain looked at me in astonishment. As if sensing something, I slowly stood up, quietly gazing at the distant enemy. In an instant, I dashed past the vice captain. With a single kick, I shattered the resurrected boss. Now it is Ellison who controls my body. The vice captain couldn't believe his eyes, while I remained unconcerned, pressing forward. How dare you bully our student? Leave this to us. On the other side, a fierce battle raged on. Captain Su raised his sword high. Aiming directly at the man, he unleashed the power of his sword, sending waves of sword energy slicing through the air. The energy whizzed past, causing the man to duck just in time. The sword energy soared over his head, crashing into the stone pillar behind him. What a hassle! Even though I used the dark orb to nullify the flames, the moment I touched the fire, it would reappear. It seems the only option left is to take a leap of faith. In an instant, the man launched 2 dark orbs. Captain Su quickly tilted his body to evade while advancing forward. "I've got you now." Captain Su seized the moment and struck, severing the enemy's right hand with a single decisive blow. "It seems the tides have turned. Aren't you in pain? Do you really think so?" With that, he immediately attacked the wound on Captain Su. Powerful punch. Blood sprayed forth, and the agony from the injury almost made Captain Su faint. "Do you still believe the situation has reversed? Don't forget, you still bear a wound on your abdomen. Sacrificing an arm won't significantly impact my strategy. Then you have already lost. In fact, your defeat was predetermined from the very beginning." With that, the man pulled out a prophetic book from his backpack. "From this book, I can prove it." Captain Su gazed in astonishment at the prophetic tome. "How did you come to possess that book? If we can prevent and destroy the event foretold, that is the mission of the preventive organization. However, there will always be those who wish to bring the prophecy to fruition. I am one of the 12 apostles of the apocalypse. Taelf has come here to realize that." Captain Su was perplexed. Why would anyone desire to bring about a prophetic destruction? If you speak of it, will you abandon your efforts to thwart this prophecy? As Taelf let his guard down, Captain Su suddenly launched a surprise attack, swinging his sword at Taelf, a bright arc slicing through his neck. Blood gushed like a fountain. Captain Su stared at his foe. "It seems I have triumphed." Yet, despite his severe injuries, Taelf merely smiled. This is where the game ends. With that, he retrieved a vial from his pocket. The moment he uncapped the vial, a colossal beam of light enveloped Taelf. The blinding golden radiance rendered Captain Su unable to discern what was happening. However, in the next instant, a punch came hurtling toward him. Captain Su was sent flying. Taelf stood there, unscathed. Even his severed and charred right arm had been restored. Impossible. "This is a precious artifact from the ancient era. If you weren't my enemy, I truly wouldn't want to use it." Taelf charged at Captain Su once more. Captain Su hastily swung his sword to defend himself, but against Taelf, who had fully recovered, those attacks were futile. This is the end. Once again, he struck fiercely at Captain Su's wound. Captain Su was completely unable to resist. Collapsing in the snow, he had finally fallen. "No, I can't give in. I'm not finished yet. My family, my beloved little brother, and that arrogant fool Chiwan, along with my close comrades. I still have many important tasks left to fulfill. And my adorable Baozi, I want to hand it over to the enemy I cherish. I cannot fall." Captain Su gritted his teeth, summoning the last remnants of his strength to ignite the flame of life within him. But in the next heartbeat, only despair remained. Ho Jian's right arm was frozen solid by a sphere of darkness. There was no chance for a final resistance. "Farewell, Captain Su." Just as Taelf was about to strike, a block of ice from behind was suddenly shattered into countless shards, scattering everywhere. From the chaos, a figure emerged. "The one who made our student weep is you, isn't it? Use your life to apologize to him." It's here. It's here. The strongest force has finally erupted, but the outcome was facing a villain who wouldn't die. No matter how many times he was killed, he would always resurrect. At this moment, I completely entrusted my body to the masters. With one kick, they crushed the level-owned boss of the prophecy. Then we went to another battlefield, and when Captain Su was about to be beheaded, I appeared in time. "You were the one who made our students cry, weren't you?" Feeling our anger, I walked step by step towards Taelf. He looked at me in surprise. The boy in front of me didn't make me feel good, and the best way was not to move. "If you move, I will kill Captain Su." But before I could finish speaking, I cut off Taelf's arm. He couldn't believe the scene in front of him. My eyes didn't move away from you, and my arm was chopped off. He moved too fast and didn't react. The long knife was already bent. The alchemist sighed and said, "This is a terrible power." As he spoke, he slowly reached out his hand, and the energy around him began to be released from the highest alchemy. Not long ago, a storm of mercury appeared, and various weapons emerged from it. Your weapon will be provided by me. During this period, Telf's arm regenerated Lee Ichiro, and he was surprised to see this scene. This is resilience. I think modern superheroes cannot use their skills at this level. Of course, after a period of time, or reaching a certain number of times, the effect will automatically recover, and then an arrow will directly shoot into the middle of Telf's forehead, but the wound will quickly heal. This seems to be a test of magic, so is there any plan to deal with it? Miles just coldly replied that every time he kills someone, there will be death. Telf now looks a little scared, and quickly builds a wall in front of him with a shadow ball. But I don't care. I pulled my bow again and passed the arrows through the gaps in the shadow ball, one hitting my right eye and the other hitting my chest. In such a wide range, even if I closed my eyes, I could hit Telf's wound and recover again. Disgustingly, he immediately controlled the shadow ball to attack me. At the same time, Yuan Tuo immediately took over my body and could avoid the attack with just a few turns. I used a great body and immediately appeared in front of Telf, grabbing his right hand, kicking his chin, and then when his body fell, I turned around and punched him one punch. He punched one punch, he faced 100 punches. Your ability to annihilate contact-based entities is indeed a formidable long-range attack, I remarked. Yet, it's a pity that your speed is far too slow. Dodging is all too easy. With that, I struck his chest fiercely. Telf was sent hurtling away, while Ellison gazed at the spot from which he had been thrown and commented, "He must have died 100 times by now." I ignored Tao Nifu and walked up to Captain Tofung. The captain looked at me skeptically, asking, "Are you the legendary Thunchi Matman?" The potion master Valatan simply replied, "No, I'm not." Then I extended my hand towards Captain Tofung and unleashed the technique Still Life. A wave of golden energy enveloped my body. We are the first awakened ones, destined to be called the ancestors, the ancient souls residing within the essence of Thunchi Manman. The enemy remains unresolved. Therefore, I decided to make my exit. With that, I vanished from sight. Tao Nifu had recovered from being thrown back, but his mind and body were in turmoil, leaving him utterly disoriented. That young man was indeed a monster. I needed to think carefully about my next move. Just as Tao Nifu was about to react, a long spear pierced his heart, impaling his entire being. The dark mage Tintaima showed no mercy, unleashing the ultimate technique, annihilation. Tao Nifu's anguished scream echoed through the heavens and earth, leaving him no time to ponder his fate. Dark mage Tintaima asked the potion master, "Vithuk Suvung, if the spear remains lodged in his heart forever, will he die?" However, the answer was no. Tao Nifu's body instinctively expelled the spear even before he could regain his footing. The next wave of attacks came crashing down. If he were to be sliced into pieces, it was anyone's guess where he would be reborn. The answer quickly revealed itself as Tao Nifu was left with only a severed arm, beginning to regenerate endlessly. In no time, he was fully restored. As soon as he recovered, Tao Nifu dashed away. This guy was definitely not human. Now, all he needed to do was eliminate Captain Tofung and escape. However, when he returned to his previous spot, he was taken aback to find Captain Tofung sitting there, holding a broken sword. "You're too late," he said, rising to his feet. "Now, shall we continue?" In an instant, he swung his sword towards me, and a blade of energy formed, speeding straight toward Tao Nifu, who hadn't even had the chance to react. He was cleaved into countless pieces. For the first time, despair washed over him. His life had been devoted to the prophecies, yet this time he truly felt he would perish, as if a colossal shark had targeted him, leaving nowhere to escape. How long had it been since he felt such fear? Fear surged within Tao Nifu, but his hand instinctively reached into his backpack. In an instant, he pulled out a vial filled with shimmering golden powder. When Li Nut Lang saw this, he immediately unleashed a beam of sword energy, severing the arm that held the vial. Yet it was too late. The golden powder had already scattered into the wind. The powder floating in the air, relics. Shijisha immediately turned into a huge cage, trapping me inside. Now, Kalf's resurrection time has just ended. Seeing me trapped inside, he was ecstatic. It was so good, almost dead. He doesn't care if his hand is broken and cannot be restored. Obviously, the purpose of this artifact is a cage. It's not an easy thing. Let's settle down inside. This cage can't even break my shadow ball. As long as I deal with Captain Su, I win. At this moment, Liichiro ignored him and said to his back, "You should have seen it clearly." The Soviet captain has already stood up. Kowloon broke into a cold sweat when he heard these words. Looking back, we continued with the second round. Although this big sword had been destroyed, its hands were broken. With just one sword, it could display its powerful swordsmanship, which was incredible. I don't know how to achieve victory. Perhaps you, like me, are a genius, but even geniuses need to find a teacher who truly suits them. So I followed Kan Nguyen's advice and sought out people who could teach me, but none of them succeeded. They all failed. "I'm sorry, I can't fight against you anymore. You've surpassed me. Go find other teachers. You made me realize my own insignificance." Each teacher only took me a month to stifle my will to become strong, until one day when I met them, I knew that the strongest swordsman was my sister, Kazuka Katsuragi. So I worship you as my teacher and study hard. When I met my teacher, I asked him what sword it was. Su Fangcheng held an ancient book and asked Gimu Yihua, which had a big character on it, an invisible sword technique. That sword technique has long been lost. Even I can't perform it. It's said to be the exclusive sword technique of the founder, Osmanthus Li Yilang. To Fengtang intently looked at the image in the book and murmured, "Founder Osmanthus Li Yilang." 2,000 years later, after studying for 3 years at Cheng, I have nothing more to teach you. Gimu Yihua said seriously. Gimu Yijian's swordsmanship will be passed on to you, hoping you can use it. Osmanthus Yihua sighed. "Ah, Cheng, you possess exceptional talent, like a flower that has weathered time but has yet to bloom. You need to continue fighting against other sword styles. Most people spend their entire lives unable to blossom, only to wither away. But I believe that your moment of blooming will eventually come, and now the time has arrived." When I saw Osmanthus and Li Yilang wielding the sword, I felt a miraculous sensation. Perhaps this is a once-in-a-lifetime miracle that I do not want to miss. "Master, thank you." At last, I realized that this moment was the pivotal one. Captain Tofuang raised his severed arms as if an invisible hand was gripping an unseen sword. A crimson energy surged around him, and I anxiously observed this scene unfold. At the same time, in the training grounds of the headquarters of the prophecy, Kang Nguyen seemed to sense something and immediately turned to gaze into the distance. In the next heartbeat, a deafening explosion echoed, and Kang Nguyen vanished from sight, leaving only a gaping hole in the wall. Tao Nifu looked at Captain To Fung with confusion, the turmoil within him spreading like wildfire. As a swordsman, now devoid of both arms, what could he possibly do? Yet, a voice within me incessantly reminded me that this strike would undoubtedly reveal something extraordinary. One must observe closely the true bloom of humanity occurs in but a fleeting moment. Some achieve the pinnacle of physical prowess, others reach the limits of 5G, while some grasp the essence of truth in a single instant. And for him, this was that moment. Open your eyes wide and see clearly. As I looked more intently, I was astonished to discover a faint flower blooming behind Captain Tofung. It had yet to fully blossom. Vital memories surged within my mind. I watched as Captain Tofung raised his hand, and in the next heartbeat, the flower of life erupted forth. Dao Mak swiftly cleaved Tao Nifu in two, the darkness's defenses proving futile against such ferocity. What on earth is happening? In the next instant, Tao Nifu was completely obliterated. I had emerged victorious. Yet, this strike had drained all of Captain Tofung's life force. Don't rush. I lost consciousness and collapsed. In that fleeting moment, my right hand bore the mark of the void, radiating brilliantly, connecting with Captain Tofung's soul. The sky felt overwhelmingly heavy. Is this the afterlife? In the final moments of my life, I had reached the highest realm of knowledge. I felt a sense of fulfillment. Captain Tofung closed his eyes, reminiscing about his family, about Kang Nguyen with his irritating face, and the comrades who had weathered every storm together. They had grown stronger, and now it was time to rest. Forgive me. My beloved younger brother, forgive me, I must leave now. Just then, a figure appeared. To my surprise, it was you. I stepped forward, smiling, extending my right hand. Captain Tofung's initial look of doubt transformed into a knowing smile. So that was it. Death is not the end. I hope you will take care of everything from now on. As the cage shattered, I rushed toward Captain Tofung, but at that moment, I was utterly exhausted. I collapsed onto the snow, tears streaming down my face. Just as Captain Tofung was about to fall, a blinding light rent the sky. Kang Win was racing towards us, moving with incredible speed as he shouted. A Thang Kang Win quickly landed, catching Captain Tofung in his arms. Han Win looked at Ah Cheng with an expression of disbelief. I'm sorry I came too late. Captain Defuang passed away at the age of 23 in a battle against the formidable Cao Nifu. Oh brother, that bun is so cute. Please let me hug it. All right, this is a sad story. Who could have imagined that Captain Tofung, the indomitable champion, would sacrifice himself during a level 1 prophecy mission? No one can accept this outcome. In the training ground, as Captain Tofung practiced his swordsmanship, Kang Win arrived. Athen, why have you become the captain? Captain Tofung turned to Kang Win, his brow furrowed in suspicion. What's going on within the prophecy organization? Your strength is only a notch below mine. When you're serious, you can defeat any opponent. Isn't it better to fight alone? I'm not like you, who has come so far. I'm simply a solitary soul. I cherish the days spent alongside my comrades. When they're injured and fall, I'll be there to help them up and encourage them so that each reunion feels like a blessing. Captain Gei Cheng has passed the Level 2 swordsmanship exam. This means I can be of use as well. Overjoyed, I rushed to tell the captain. From the memories that rushed back to me, I saw your comrades before coming here. Only 2 survived. Rest in peace. You've fulfilled your duty and obligation as a captain. At this moment, Kang Win was crying uncontrollably, tears streaming down like rain. His old friend had departed from his embrace. What does it matter if I am the strongest? I cannot salvage anything. Right now, I lay silently in the snow, trapped in a realm of memories, kneeling alone in a corner. The seniors looked on from a distance, none daring to approach. This place is dark and terrifying. That much is clear, because this space reflects my current state of mind. All the ancestors understand, whether friends, family, or disciples lost, they have all experienced it. They've witnessed comrades fall one by one, leaving their hearts shattered. Most often, when faced with such tragedies, they bury their hearts deep, losing their vitality. Should I continue to fight? My heart aches as if it's being cut. It feels as if everything is about to be torn apart. If it had been entrusted to you from the start, perhaps no one would have to die. As a vessel, should I only train my body so that all battles are fought by you? But in that moment, when I shook hands with Captain Tofung, my hand burned like fire. I looked up towards Ichiro. I've been entrusted with this task, and I don't want to disappoint those expectations. At this moment, I felt an unwavering resolve. Eventually, one day, I will surpass Group 10. This is certainly no joke. Even for a single second, I must quickly surpass everyone. The next moment, a golden light appeared in the dark sky. That light gradually expanded. A colossal energy poured down, enveloping the heavy atmosphere. Instantly, the darkness around me dissipated. I raised my fist, vowing that no one would die again. The anger of the strongest in this modern age, who could bear it? A helicopter approached from afar. And here I was, my face overshadowed by grimness. Although we managed to avert disaster this time, the price was far too steep. The sorrow was palpable on everyone's faces. Finally, I uttered a single phrase. Let's go home, Tianguin. Everything has been reclaimed. He could depart at any moment. Meanwhile, Tianguin's countenance remained dark as he spoke into his phone. You guys go ahead, I'll return alone. Thus, Tianguin called while watching the helicopter fade into the distance. The city of Ngokmon had made its sacrifice. The enemy was none other than the 12 holy artifacts of the post-apocalyptic world. Quickly investigate their whereabouts. I want to orchestrate a bloodbath. After that, Tianguin vanished, even skipping the funeral of Captain Tofung. This event left a deep scar on everyone's hearts, especially on the brother of Captain Tofung, Chun Chun. He stood motionless before his brother's portrait for what felt like an eternity. The next day at the funeral, I encountered him. His face had lost its former innocence, as if he had suddenly grown up overnight. Holding his brother's keepsake and a chubby, adorable cat in his arms, he asked, "You're Ban Bao, aren't you?" Just as the captain said, "You're truly lovable." Hearing my words, he seemed a bit surprised. "You know about the cat my brother raised. Why is it that only I was oblivious?" It was only just now, while cleaning my brother's room, that I realized how much he cherished this cat. I saw the books he loved, the clothes he often wore, the foods he enjoyed, and even the sticky notes. The area around Bao Sun's locked enemy base had expanded. How splendid Hung Chui's career has also broadened significantly. The summary work was done exceptionally well, surpassing the second-level construction examination. Why had I never truly understood my brother until I stumbled upon his diary? The first page opened, reading, "Diary entrusted to Shan Chan." The contents within were nothing remarkable. They primarily detailed daily training and missions. However, each entry concluded with a heartfelt sentence. January 12. Suddenly, the weather turned cold again. Chan Chan, make sure to wear more layers. March 7. Chan Chan passed the qualifying exam, so joyous. May 17. Chan Chan seems to struggle with his companions. What should I do? July 19. The watermelon Hung Chui brought is delicious. I want Chun Chun to try it too. October 1. Chun Chun has been dispatched on an unclear reconnaissance mission. I believe you will surely return safely. In that instant, it felt like I saw my brother sitting there, writing heartfelt words for his younger sibling. But now, that spot is empty. Witnessing this, Chun Chun sank to the ground, tears flowing uncontrollably. Why write only things that make me feel guilty about my brother? Seeing Chun Chun's expression, I offered him comfort. You once told me that you were very worried about your younger brother. If possible, you wished we could be as harmonious as with Bao Bun. At that moment, a silent transformation took place within Zhen Zhen. I must grow stronger, even stronger, so that my brother in heaven can see me. So, Zhen Zhen and I traveled to Mount Wangyu in Nagano province to meet the master of Captain Tu Feng, Guimu Yihua. Upon hearing the news of his disciple's sacrifice, Guimu Yihua suddenly became dazed, as if the world had come to a standstill. But in the next moment, his cold demeanor returned. We hoped to train here for a while. Thus we stayed. A month passed, and two familiar figures continued to clash like relentless waves in a river, occasionally colliding unexpectedly. I lifted my fist and launched a powerful strike towards him. But all my attacks were blocked. Seizing the opportunity, my right hand relentlessly struck with fierce force toward Zhen Zhen. Unexpectedly, that blow was countered by him, sending massive splashes of water erupting around us. In that moment, I truly understood the power of his defense. Just as I was marveling at his formidable counter, Zhen Zhen's attack arrived. Fortunately, I reacted in time, my left hand grabbing his attacking right hand, harnessing the strength of my opponent. I then tossed Zhen Zhen into the air. However, he managed to kick powerfully towards me as his body lost balance. Luckily, I had prepared to raise my right hand to block the strike. Immediately after, I leaped up, ready to deliver a final blow. Suddenly, a roar echoed through the air. Stop hearing that voice. We immediately separated, standing tall on the water's surface, awaiting the judgment of the woman. You both did very well, especially you, Zhen Zhen. A month ago, you were no match for Bao Bun. Now, you have made great progress, exchanging blows excellently. After saying this, she lifted a stick from the ground with her foot. Now let me show you my swordsmanship. With that, an incredible power radiated from her as she slowly approached us. Then let's begin. In the deep night of London, a man strolled leisurely through the streets. Upon entering a narrow alley, he came to a halt. This man was one of the 12 holy artifacts. Cato looked at the person blocking his path and spoke. Finally found you, Tianyuan. At that moment, Tianyuan no longer wore his previous smile. Tell me the location of your remaining comrades and your base. Adding one more word will cost you your life. However, the other party seemed unwilling to cooperate. He drew his weapon, preparing for battle. I'm eager to see just how vast the distance between us really is. Seeing this, Tianyuan activated the energy around him, then prepared to die. The once quiet and clean alley suddenly erupted with green light, accompanied by a spray of blood. Then, only Tien Nguyen remained, stepping forward to where the members awaited. The target had been dealt with. This was the fable book upon him. After speaking, he turned and walked away. He had collected 5 fable books from the post-apocalyptic world, leaving 7 more to find. They've arrived. Our main team is finally coming together. In the secret meeting place of the prophetic organization, an elderly woman was grinding tea. She was the leader of this prophetic organization. Meanwhile, her 2 assistants, Dongvan and Tianwen, visited unexpectedly. They presented 5 books, placing them before the leader. These were the 5 fable books that Tianwen had obtained from the 12 holy relics of the post-apocalyptic world. Originally, it was 1 book, but it had been split into 12 volumes. 7 more were still being sought by Tianwen. The leader picked one up and flipped through it. While eliminating enemies and collecting fable books was no issue, was his approach a bit too authoritarian? Had the death of Tu Fuang shaken him to the core? Buk Thu asked. How should we handle this then? The leader chuckled softly. For now, there's no need to worry about him. No matter what is said, he won't listen. When he returns, let that child come to me for tea. Now that Tu Fuang's team has disbanded, we need to fill the gap in this lineup. Dongvan looked forward to it eagerly. You 2 are in charge of forming the new team. Meanwhile, at some location in the Imperial City, a colossal army of monsters was gathering. The traders predicted a level 2 boss, Little Chi Fu. The response team for this prediction was Little Team. However, it seemed the members were struggling to cope with these creatures. There were too many, and each monster was tougher to deal with. The captain had already realized this issue. Turning to the members temporarily standing behind, he said, "Can I leave this to you?" The one he referred to was a girl he hadn't seen in a long time. "No problem, let me give it a try." She gently raised her hand. Advanced alchemy. Instantly, a gigantic mercury sphere appeared before her. The other members stepped back upon seeing it. Then, all the mercury surged towards the monstrous army. At the same time, Little Kung Kei activated her gas transformation ability. Mercury suddenly transformed into a gas, spreading throughout the army. But that was just the beginning. Next came the liquefaction process. A massive amount of mercury morphed into a liquid, enveloping the creature's head, turning it searing hot. Immediately, the mushrooms tormented by the molten mercury let out cries of agony. When would this all end? Finally, from a fluid state, it suddenly froze, sprouting sharp spikes consecutively. In an instant, it was like a chain reaction unfolding. All the mushrooms were pierced through by mercury. The team members gazed at this scene in astonishment. The newcomer girl is incredibly strong. Our team is lacking in wider-range attack skills. The handsome young boy snapped his fingers, and instantly the monster turned to dust. "Captain, I've done it." The captain approached, showing admiration. "I never expected this girl to be so powerful. It's a pity that this is just temporary. When the training session ends, would you like to join my team? The girl was overjoyed. Receiving such recognition from you is wonderful." Upon hearing this, everyone thought that the team would gain a charming new friend. The team also chuckled innocently. If Xiaokei comes, I can finally take a break. However, as soon as Xiaogong left, everything changed. Now I have fully mastered the 3 states of matter. Quickly send the materials for the next course. At this moment, I was munching on breakfast while playing with a bun. In the imprint space, I realized that the girl had mastered the 3 states of matter, completing the 7th course, and felt elated. So, I cheerfully took the 8th course book from the shelf behind. While waiting, the girl unexpectedly asked about Bian Tai Lang. What course has that guy finished? Meanwhile, at the place where Kuai Ni was holding a 2nd-level prophecy, the Earthstone Beast boss was greedily feasting in front of the living. But in the next moment, it was shattered by a kick. Lesson 8, Brilliant Ascendancy, was successfully discovered, and Captain Dungluk Hongnut Lang, seeing the boss defeated, exclaimed excitedly, "Well done. Wolf Patient, you must join our team." The Wolf Patient seemed quite popular in this group. However, when it came to choosing a team, he appeared somewhat hesitant. As for Xiaogong too, upon receiving the materials for Lesson 8, he was incredibly excited. "I won't lose to any of you. Hey, did you hear the rumor about forming a new small team? To fill the gap in Tofung's team, a new team needs to be established, and the captain will be chosen from members with outstanding achievements." Hearing this, I didn't pay much attention. It didn't seem very relevant to me. However, the next words from Xiao Gong Tu took me by surprise. I discussed it with Yin Tai Lang earlier. We will form a team together. The team name will be Divine Indication Team, and the captain will be Divine Indication Man. What are you talking about? Are you serious? The strongest prophecy organization has an infiltrating agent trying to become the new captain. And here I am, a rookie, being asked to join the captain selection to create my own team. Hearing Xiao Gongtu's proposal left me stunned. Why are you looking for me? I joined the prediction organization with the wish of eradicating all prophetic disasters in this world, absolutely not allowing past tragedies to recur. Therefore, I must join this team. Captain needs not only immense strength, but also the ability to empower the team. I believe you have what it takes. If not, I might just fall prey to the trickery of this pint-sized captain. Think carefully. After hanging up, I sat alone on a stone, pondering the heartfelt proposition. What is he up to? Huitmuk glanced curiously. Seeing this, I recounted everything. Captain isn't becoming someone like that wonderful. I felt he was quite suited for it. Yet, deep down, I still wrestled with doubts about my own capability to lead. Meanwhile, in the sealed space, Meilet looked back. Is nobody going to voice their opinions? A group of warriors appears to be utterly vague on matters like these. Let's see what we should say. I've exerted myself to hone my martial skills. However, I've never had any leadership experience and have no idea how to proceed. Meilet sighed, a look of helplessness on her face. What an unreliable bunch. Upon hearing this, Li Nitlang turned around and called out loudly. Isn't this your forte? Come on, give the little rascal some hints. The military theory expert stepped out from behind, holding a bamboo tube and a brush. Now's not the time. The opportunity hasn't arrived. Moreover, there's already someone on site who fits the bill perfectly. Back outside, while I was still lost in thought, a staff suddenly thrust straight into the massive stone beneath me. It turned out to be Huitmuk, his gaze filled with concern as he observed me. He slowly approached. If you're still troubled, come here and train. Focus on perfecting your steps. Hearing this, I immediately grabbed a wooden sword and leaped down, launching into a stance that allowed me to stand firm on the water's surface like ripples in a pond. Not bad, I was catching on swiftly. How did you do that? Typically, even a genius needs half a year to reach this level. Little did he know, I was cheating. Every night in the sealed space, a master guided me. Just then, suddenly, Huitmuk launched an attack on me. A swift sword strike descended from above, and behind me, the clash erupted into a tidal wave of chaos. In the midst of battle, there's no room for hesitation. Think too long, and you'll face a grim fate. I couldn't afford to take any risks. In the sealed space, Li Nitlang watched intently as events unfolded outside. Was he truly the right choice? Among the modern elite, he was considered quite formidable. He truly lives up to his lineage. I don't have any children. It must be my younger brother's system. He is the legitimate heir of my sect. Just then, Huitmuk unleashed the Huitmuk Dao technique, the wind swirling around him, and a bolt of violet lightning shot forth like a ferocious serpent. I barely dodged in the nick of time. Master, is this for real? Immediately, Huitmuk attacked me again. The Renguk sword technique unleashed a barrage of sword energy from all directions, ultimately forming a colossal sword cage around me. Nutlang gazed in astonishment at the scene unfolding before him. This was a skill he had never witnessed before. Could it be a technique of his own creation? How fascinating it is to run so swiftly and evade capture. Huitmuk standing atop the shattered peak, praised, "This is a skill you could never hope to master. I wonder where you learned this from." The skill known as Huitmuk Dao seems to derive from the wisdom of the ancients. Let me guess what's on your mind. Are you contemplating if you can become a captain like Tofungtan? Of course, for I have witnessed with my own eyes just how powerful Captain Tofung truly is. Can I ever rise to be such a captain? It's not about achieving that just yet. As Huitmuk launches his assault upon the vast ocean, invoking the Huitmuk Dao Thinkwuk Va. Suddenly, the water surged, revealing a colossal whirlpool. This is the entirety of my skill. The successors to come would build upon the techniques of the ancestors. It is a daunting task for us to reach the heights once achieved by the masters. This entity hails from another dimension. Nonetheless, we continue our relentless pursuit, striving to keep pace, perhaps even inventing new schools of thought, bravely facing every challenge. I may not know what kind of leader A-Thing is, but one thing is certain, he is a remarkable captain. Initially, reaching 10,000 seemed impossible, yet as long as your faith remains, you will achieve it one day. Tell me, do you possess such determination? In that moment, I felt awakened. Yes, I may not be able to match Captain Tofung, but I will do everything in my power to draw closer. Furthermore, I have been entrusted with this responsibility. How could I betray such trust? Indeed, let me feel your resolve. This is my unwavering belief at this moment. As we charged forth, immense power erupted around us. 2 weeks later, at the headquarters of the prediction organization, the two captains were reviewing the list of candidates for the new captain. Most were nominated by the captains and ourselves. This time, an intriguing figure emerged, Thun Chi Man Man. He is 17 years old, still a trainee, having joined the organization only 2 months ago. His completed missions include Level 3 Divine Beast, Level 2 Heat Book, and Level 1 Global Freeze. The one who introduced him is the special agent, Manhwa. Meanwhile, in a shadowy corner outside the window, a dark figure stood beneath the canopy of trees, making a phone call. He had infiltrated successfully. Word has it that the new captain's assessment will take place in 3 days. Just wait, old man, I will undoubtedly become the new captain. The shadow radiated a sinister green light, revealing a wicked grin. Ava, one of the 12 apostles of the Destruction World, belongs to an organization known as the 12 Apostles of the Destruction World. Each holds a prophetic book, and to fulfill the prophecies within, they will eliminate any obstacles in their path. However, they have offended the strongest modern entity, Tien Nguyen. The 12 apostles have now been more than half destroyed. To avenge one of the apostles, Eva has used her unique skill. The Scorpion can transform into the killed target to infiltrate the prediction organization as a replacement. Our goal is to stand out in this election and become a new captain, destroying the prediction organization from within Tianyuan. Although we cannot defeat this monster, what we can do is to start destroying the prediction organization from within. Turn the prophecy into reality. 3 days later, at the large training ground of the prediction organization, the captain candidates and their sponsors had all gathered. However, only my sponsor had yet to appear. The person in charge this time was Dongyun Tianyuan. Captain selection exam has officially begun and is divided into 4 parts. Each part is scored, with the first place receiving 3 points, the second place receiving 2 points, and the third place receiving 1 point. In the end, the person with the highest total score will become the new captain of the commune team. Everyone must work hard, face it seriously, and strive. All 8 players will attend with their recommenders. They are all very tough. Is this the selection for the new captain? There seem to be countless gazes staring at me, making me feel uncomfortable. That person is Tianyuan, who brought back a new recruit. It's ridiculous that the captain of the 7 Chi Emotions team wants to be the captain after joining for less than 2 months. The Wolf City Sun team doesn't mean you're still an intern. It's amazing that Yuan Bai from the Tibetan Island team has been standing here for 2 months. What kind of person is he? The true Pikachu. One can survive among the first-level prophets and was introduced by Ms. Katsuragi Kazuka. Interestingly, Chi Yingjin, a Taurus on the Chi Bang, heard that he also guides his teammates of the same time. That team of Teng Li is Nianyan's mentor, isn't it? It seems difficult to get along with. A tense feeling makes me restless. Why do everyone else have a captain by my side, and my back is empty? I just received a text message from teacher Guimu Yihua. These are just 2 simple lines. One is overslept, and the other is before I come. If you're eliminated, it'll throw you into a meteorite crater. Teacher, Yihua will definitely keep his promise. At least, he won't be eliminated before he comes. So the exam officially starts, and I am running fast in the woods with someone on my back. That's when teacher Guimu Yihua fell asleep. Hurry up, otherwise it won't be in time. Is this part of cultivation? If you're in a hurry, his speed should be faster than mine. Don't procrastinate, that's your future captain. On the training field, the magical strength test had commenced. As I felt the surge of my magical power rising within me, Everyone around gasped in awe at my colossal might. The magical strength test was underway, and Man, the master of the technique, stood at the forefront, with even the measuring devices struggling to contain his overwhelming power. The members of the team were left speechless by the talent of Asahi Nara, currently ranked 5th in the magical power leaderboard. With an air of confidence, Banki remarked that to reach such a level of progress was truly astonishing. It was hard to believe that someone so exceptional could be in the 3rd position. Winbo, standing nearby, appeared to harbor doubts about this statement. Winbo, part of the Tangdao team and ranked 2nd, was a notable rebel, a prodigy capable of excelling in physical prowess or magical ability. Much like him, Shinya was a genius in another aspect. However, Shinya, representing the Look team, was placed 7th in the magical power rankings. Upon the conclusion of the first test, the scoreboard instantly appeared. The next challenge was a hand-to-hand combat match where participants could freely select their opponents, requiring mutual consent from both parties. The victor would earn 2 points. Upon hearing this rule, Shinya immediately raised his hand. The opponent I chose was none other than Kamizuki Manman. It was well known that among the official members, Shinya was the strongest in hand-to-hand combat. At the tender age of 2, he had encountered a monster emerging from a spatial rift. In that moment, as the beast charged, Shinya suddenly awakened his powers. They say it was a merciless slaughter. His mother, drenched in blood, was in a frenzy at the horrifying scene before her. A 2-year-old child, trapped in a cradle, screamed in terror as the bodies of monsters lay at his feet. Hand-to-hand combat was undeniably advantageous for someone like Shinya. Why wouldn't he choose the strongest opponent? Shinya lacked magical prowess, but his physical capabilities were unmatched among the elite. Since joining, he had poured every ounce of his strength into honing his combat skills. No one could defeat him in a hand-to-hand fight. Let's put aside that show of strength. Both sides were ready, and the official battle began. I heard that you used to train Yantaro, is that true? At this question, I paused for a moment. The one who trained Yantaro was none other than the masters standing behind me. I was merely a messenger, occasionally offering a few small suggestions. Some believed that giving advice to a genius entitled them to consider themselves as their teacher. Yantaro was a genius, just like me. I believe it won't be long before he catches up to you. Indeed, I think so too. I couldn't help but feel delighted that the opponent truly cared about Yantaro. What a peculiar fellow. Just then, a surge of power radiated from my hand as Shinya gradually transformed. Powerful currents flickered at the tips of his sharp fingers. With a single stomp, he tore through the fabric of space, hurtling directly towards me. Just as the attack was about to connect, I instinctively ducked to evade the blow, my fists clenched and ready to counter. But in the next heartbeat, the force of his last strike detonated behind me. In an instant, he swung his left arm and charged forward. Amidst the torrential downpour of blows, I could only defend and dodge. At that critical moment, I spotted an opening and seized his attacking wrist with a firm grip. With a technique called Hao Dung Lu, I launched my opponent high into the air, his body crashing violently to the ground. The tremendous force created a massive crater in the earth. I used the recoil to propel him even higher. Shinya, you truly are formidable. Yet, the fury radiating from my opponent was palpable. Are you mocking me, you wretched fool?